Hello, everybody. Hello. It is I, Trooper SJP, and this is the Academic Foxhole, and it's a Thursday. Hey, everybody. And also, I have. Oh, you know what I didn't do that. That's okay. Interesting. It's interesting. I thought I did all that, but I didn't. Let me fix it. Let me fix it. Hold on. And I even went there, or maybe I didn't. No, I think I did. I see you, Krellin. I have to fix it though. It's not where it needs to be. Fix. Fix it. It's not fixed yet. Mm. Okay, now it should be fixed. Ahem, ahem. Hello. Um, feeling like feeling like 56 centigrade centigrade centigrade. Good God, why? Wraithboard. It also sounds like a James Brown song. Uh, this and all interruptions is brought to you by this interesting viewer who would like to interrupt this stream with a song. That's fine. I have questions for you, Krellin. The name game. Come on, everybody. I say now let's play a game. I bet you I can make a rhyme out of anybody's name. The first letter of the name. I treat it like it wasn't there. And then a B on F. On M will appear. And then I say Bo at a B, then I say the name, then banana, fanner, and foe. Then I say the name again with an F, very plain. Then a fee, fi, and a mo. Then I say the name again with an M this time, and there isn't any name that I can't rhyme. Krellin, 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 Bobellin, banana, fanner, fulfillin, fee, fi, mo, melon. Krellin, the name game. Hey, hey, thank you for that interrupting resub. Hey, y'all. So, a couple of things. First off, I have a new chair. I've had this chair for a very long time. Uh, I got it like right after I moved here, but I just have never had time to uh,
Name game.
build it. Do you know what I mean? So this is I have just built it. I'm still deciding where I want the height to be because it can be up here, which feels a little bit more, straight on with the camera, or I could just be a little bit lower. Like I'm still working out where I want it to be. But the point, though, I feel like the most important point is the name game. Come on, everybody. I said, now let's play a game. I bet you I can make a rhyme out of anybody's name. The first letter of the name, I treat it like it wasn't there. And then a B on F, on M
Name
will
game.
appear. And then I say Bo at a B, then I say the name, then banana, fanner, and foe. Then I say the name again with an F, very plain. Then a fee, fi, and a mo. Then I say the name again with an M this time, and there isn't any name that I can't rhyme. But if the first two letters are ever the same, I drop them both and say the name. I like Bob. Bob drop the B's, Bo, of or Fred. Fred drop the F's for red, or Mary, Mary drop the M's, mo, airy. That's the only rule that is contrary. Barentor, 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 Erentor, Banana, Fana, for Ferentor, Fee, Fi, Mo, Marentor. Barentor, Ada, 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 Bobeda, Banana, Fana, for Feta, Fee, Fi, Mo, Meta. Ada, the name game. Yay. Yay. Thank you for all those resub. Does the chair have cup holders? It does not have cup holders, but that's okay because my desk has a cup holder, which is just like right over there. I've got my water bottle in it, so I feel like we're good. I feel like we're good. Let me see. What else? Wait. And I just expanded the chat box so I can see all this stuff. Uh, can I get a belated birthday song since you had to tap out on Sunday for grading? Absolutely. Absolutely. Uh, apparently, the time of gifts is now. Hello, Roller. Roller. You just have all those beer steins in there that made me think about something that I was doing the other night. It wasn't drinking beer. If you were thinking that what I was doing the other night was drinking beer, that was not it because I don't drink beer. But I was thinking about things that I do not have that I was like, you know what? I used to have one of those and I don't have one anymore. And I feel like I should have one. And so then I was looking them up. And then I was like, I should not be looking at this right now because this is a rabbit hole. I'm
Mean
squirreling into
game.
some other thing that is not the thing I should be doing. So I stopped, but I did spend some time looking at Lederhosen. You know, because the thing is, I used to have this great pair of Lederhosen back when I lived in Germany, and this really wonderful Trachtenjacke and shirt and all that. But like that was like 30 years ago, and I was like, I need another pair of Lederhosen. So anyway, I was looking up Lederhosen, but then I didn't get any because I was like, I should not be getting Lederhosen right now, but I will. Maybe not this second, but probably also not after I sing the name game. Come on, everybody. I say now let's play a game. I bet you I can make a rhyme out of anybody's name. Stop, pause. When I do this, I think about they're creepy and they're spooky. They're all together ooky. They really are a spooky. The Addams Family. Ba-da-da-dum. 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 Their house is a museum when people come to see 'em. They really are a scream. The Addams Family. Ba-da-da-dum. Neat. Sweet. Ba-da-dum. Da-da-dum. Da-da-dum. Petite. Anyway, the first letter of the name, I treated like it wasn't there. And then a B or an F, on M will appear. And then I say Bo at a B, then I say the name, then banana, fan, or info. Then I say the name again with an F, very plain, then a fee, fi, and a mo. Then I say the name again with an M this time, and there isn't a name that I can't rhyme. Anageek, Anageek, Bobanageek, Banana Fana, for Funny Geek, Fee, Fi, Momanageek, Anageek. That was a gift from Time of Gifts. Time of Gifts, Time of Gifts, Bobime of Gifts, Banana Fana, for Fime of Gifts, Fee, Fi, Momime of Gifts. Time of Gifts. The name game. You know, Time of Gifts. You have become a mime of gifts, and I appreciate that very very much. Thank you for those gift subs, and also thank you everybody for who did the resubbing, all of that goodness. Hello. So I was not whining and dining resistant style. I was, I was looking at Lederhosen, uh, and there are different places where you can get Lederhosen. And when I got my Lederhosen, I got them from a shop in Bavaria that was aimed at, I have thoughts about this, which I think are super interesting, but, I'll tell you in a second. Long Jones. The Addams Family Halloween special that was a failed backdoor pilot for a relaunch of the original Addams Family is available in full on YouTube. Oh, I should find that. I should know that, Krillin. Thank you. Who would time of gifts? Who would dream that Triple Recipe is going up Tracht? I see you. I see what you did there. Okay, so look, I wanted to tell you about Trachten. So it's about clothing, right? Uh, I should probably tell you this while we're in the long dark. Is probably what I should do. Um, that's actually probably true because we have to like walk and then like get stuff and sleep and all that. So there's a lot of walking. So I feel like we should probably start so that I can, you know. Oh, speaking of which, you know what I want to do? I do want to give away today. Um, the giveaways should be golden, but just in case, we're gonna go and we're gonna try a giveaway. And not right now, of course, but later at a different moment. And when we do, giveaway codes, we're gonna like just try something out and see what we can do, and see what might be interesting. I feel like we will try the action game The King's Bird, and we will see if it works. That's gonna be our thing. Okay. Also, John Aston is still alive, and if there's anyone that deserves to live into his 90s, it's Gomez Adams, and that is 100% true. You know, Gomez Adams, you know what I mean? All right, so I need to turn this down. I feel like it's a little bit too loud for me. Okay. Am I back? Okay, I'm back. Okay. So I've got a lot of things I want to talk to you about, and we just have walking. So, it's gonna be what we're gonna do. So, so here's what I was thinking about clothing, right? Oh, hey, we made it all the way back here. Did we? How did that happen? Hey, did we? Did we? Okay, did. Okay, we apparently made it all the way back. I can't remember that we did, but I'm dropping these bits to remind you. Oh, sing happy birthday to Rissa? Absolutely. Yes. Thank you. But that means I've got two songs to sing. Because I've got to sing first, also happy birthday to Rissa, because it was her birthday. And then also, We're in the Money, as sung by Ginger Rogers from the film Gold Diggers 1933, uh, which means in Pig Latin. But I just need to share that with you. Also, emotes. But happy birthday to you. Hey. Happy birthday to you. Yeah. Happy birthday, dear Issa. You beautiful babe, don't go changing. One of the best mods ever. Happy and also Cthulhu GM. And also Palamine. Birthday to you and many more. Happy birthday! Happy birthday. I hope your birthday was good and you got to do good things that were fun and exciting, because that's like awesome. But also, you just said that because I let the party find Tommy. Hey, I don't know how they found him. I don't know what happened. And I don't know. I mean, his shoulder's still jacked up, so I don't know what happened. I don't know. Was he dead? That Tommy's my character. I took the whole of. Oh, nice. Hey, I just had a thought. Um, I don't just. Okay, are you ready? Happy hey Earth baby, ute ooye. Happy hey Earth baby, ute ooye. Happy hey Earth baby, Irde Orissa K. Happy hey Earth baby, to ute ooye. I just wanted to do that because I thought it might be important. But then the thing is, sometimes Ginger Rogers breaks up the syllables, so she might say Earth Day Bay, but she might say Earth Bay A Day, because that's kind of fun too, right? So then be like, Happy Hey, Earth Bay A Day, Ute Uye. That's pretty good. Happy Hey, Earth Bay A Day, Ute Uye. Happy Hey, Earth Bay A Day, Ute Uye. Arissa K. Happy Hey, Earth Bay A Day, Earth Bay A Day, Ute Uye. Uye. And may, any may, or may. Also, you may see more of a nail me around. That's not gonna be a good. Why were you concussed? Why were you concussed? Oh, concussed. Oh, I was concussed. Okay, Tommy was concussed, not me or you. Also, we do not want Naomi around more, because then she might be murdered by Shuggoffs, and nobody wants that. But that said, Earth Day for a days. Uh, so here's the thing. Oh, hey, Roller, you have a megaphone. Where did you get this megaphone? Because I love it. I I don't know where you got this megaphone. Jer, we need a megaphone emote. We need a megaphone emote and a doom emote. Doom and megaphone. We need those. Oh, from Franker Faces. We need a megaphone because it's amazing. That said, Earway and hey, the anime. Earway and hey, the anime. Ivwayat gileat wayat wakes to utate gale young way. Earway and hey, the anime. Either ice skates are on say. Old man did yes and pray, uyari udre, you stay on young ray. You ever eat red lions like, red lions like, day. And when we see the end, the order will look like the guy in the eye. We're in the money, we're in the money. We've got a lot of what it takes to get along. I love that part. That's so good. That's so good. That's so good. Kevin Arnold in the Princess Bride film wants that. Murdered by Shoggoths is good. Credit about the concussion, and Tommy did it to himself. Well, don't. It's just a Twitch emoji. It's just a Twitch emoji. But I want it. I want my own that's better. That's all. Okay, so look. What was I going to say? There's all those things I wanted to tell you all. Oh my gosh. New chair so I can get more height so I don't have to be like looking down. I think that's better. My character Tommy has a concussion and like a dislocated shoulder. And I don't know. His sister might be wanting to hang out, but that's never a good thing. Trooper, you were going to be a shock jock. Would you go by Shocking JP or Shock Trooper? Oh. Oh. You got to go with Shock Trooper. So I feel like Shock Trooper is more shock jock than Shocking JP. I feel like Shock Trooper is like vaguely threatening and also super shock jockey. Those are my feelings, right? I just feel like Diesel Shock, that feels very shock jockey to me. Hey, everybody, it is Shock Trooper on your morning Canute. Let's talk about why it is that aluminum foil will make you crazy, or whatever kind of ridiculousness. And then also, I've got a guest here who's going to be talking about their sex time adventures while on the show Baywatch. Is Baywatch bad for America's children? Shock jock. I mean, I don't know. I don't listen to a lot of shock jocks, so I feel like I'm not great at it. But you know what I mean. Maybe if Trooper gets an emoji, I'm already on board. This right. I just feel like it could be, and I also feel like the way you do it is by sort of making fun of shock jocks. By the way, this stuff is not completely cured yet. But here's my thought. I'm going to dump some things into our special... What was that? Weird. Special trunk. So we don't have as much stuff on us. And then, once that is done, we... Here, like, so we're going to just, like, dump that. We're going to dump some stuff off. It'll be pretty fine. And then once we've dumped all the stuff off... Check it out. We will deal with the fact that we probably need some things that we don't have. Like, what I'm trying to tell you is transfer all of those. See, this does not actually weigh a lot, but my current thoughts and feelings are that we lighten our load as much as we can, and then we... some of our heavy load is the fact that we have a whole bunch of... Y'all, I'm hearing weird clicks. It's making me nervous. It's making me nervous. I just want you to know that I've got nervousness about all of this. So anyway, look, we I'm gonna... What? Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Oh, dang it. Anyway, look. I had things to say. Um, yeah, you take the piss out and enough and people pick up that's not so much. But see, the thing is, they won't notice. And sometimes, here's the thing, Diesel. Sometimes you take the piss and they still don't notice, right? Like it took a long time for people. A bunch of people still never got that. Uh, Stephen Colbert was taking the piss, right? You know what I mean? So then you're like, oh, okay, that you. Oh, well, interesting that you didn't get that, right? So like some people, it took them a while to pick up on it. We are, by the way, going to try to drop off as much stuff as we can that we don't necessarily need. I feel like we can probably transfer those flares. We probably don't need them, right? But I'm trying to be good about this. You know what I mean? Um, trying to be good about this is in. Oh, I did it again. Ah, dang it. No,
I can barely walk with this much
I have
gear.
to do it again. I pressed the wrong button. Sometimes that happens. Um, or I could just twirl my mustache. Yeah. Um, I seem to recall that Astra's about to advance to a new chapter. No, we just did. We just advanced to the new chapter, so we just have to leave. But I don't want to leave until after I make my new pants, right? Because I don't think I can carry everything with me, so I want to try to use as many supplies as I can. Because I imagine when we go and move, we're going to have to dump some stuff, you know? Um, I did not finish talking about Lederhosen. I did want to do so. Um, oh, Maggie Ruth say hello. Oh, nice, nice. Uh, uh, skip forward 3 minutes. Yeah, I need to. So I did all that work to get rid of those, and then I did not transfer them over properly. So that was sad times. Okay, so anyway, let me get rid of the things I don't need. We certainly do not need all of those. I can get some back. All right, so Lederhosen. I wanted to talk about Lederhosen because there's something I want to share. So the thing I wanted to share was, oh gosh, look at all this fuel. Let's yeah, sure. We're gonna get rid of all of that. Okay, so I why why I actually don't think right now I'm going to need all of my revolver stuff, right? Right. Okay. Shell casings, I certainly don't need those. Look, I need to tell you about Lederhosen. It's a thing I really want to share with you all. It's important to me. We'll do that. Do I actually need... Oh, you know what's going on. By the way, I just realized, I just remembered what's going on right now. I actually need to do something slightly different than I thought I was doing, but maybe also not. Yes. So here's the thing. I really want to go and make these pants, but I also feel like I need more food because I don't actually have any. So I think what I'm going to do right now is to take a run out there to go to the fishing spot, and I'm going to just fish a bunch of fish is what I think I'm going to do. I think that's like the best way to do it. Um, so that's going to be my goal is to fish a bunch of fish so that I can have this extra food. And I feel like if I do that, then my life will not be bad. And yes, those are going to be my goals. Uh, that said, um, I was wanting to tell you about. We have one cured deer hide. We have one cured gut, one cured leather. The rest of this stuff seems fine. Okay, let's see. All right. Do I have other things I want to ditch. See, most of these things don't weigh a lot, and I do think I'm going to need some fuel. Here, what we'll do is we'll get rid of one energy sim, and then we will keep what we got. We'll keep all of that. Maybe I don't need a flare gun at the moment because I'm not looking for anybody, but I do need flares because there are wolves, and that's always bad. I don't think I need my flashlight because I have torches and all of that. I think I won't take that thing. I'm not going to take my lantern because we've got torches. We're going to use those up. I will take my rabbit situation in case I can use them. Right? That seems fair. I feel like I'm doing pretty good. Right? Okay, I want to talk about Lederhosen. This is what I want to do. Lederhosen. Okay. I feel like we are probably at this point as good as we're going to be. Right? Yes. Okay. So we could be a little bit better off. We're still a little over encumbered, but we're not too bad. So I think we just go to that fishing spot, fish a bunch so we get food, and let the stuff in the city hall dry. Yes. So, I thought this was funny. When you were saying your birthday a bit ago, my auto caption picked it up as Happy Earth Day, which is also a good day. Happy Earth Day is good to sing about. I agree. Okay, so I was wanting to talk about Lederhosen and clothes, right? So this is a thing I think is really interesting, and it's about norms and privileges in various ways, right? Hey, Schmelzer. So I was thinking about clothing and cultural norms and the ways in which we don't think about certain kinds of cultural norms and what that means for people, right? So, okay, I lived in Bavaria for 5 years, and I wanted to get some lederhosen, and so I went down to a store that was in the city center of Augsburg, where I lived, and I went and I looked for some lederhosen. And they had a bunch of different kinds of lederhosen. They had lederhosen and Bundhosen. They had a bunch of different stuff. They had like different shirts and different jackets and Hafalschuhe. They had a bunch of stuff. But the thing is, this was not a costume shop, right? This is important to note. This was not a costume shop. This was a clothing store that sold traditional Bavarian clothing, but also modern versions of traditional Bavarian clothing. And hey, there are wolves out there, and I thought that I would just share that with you as I choose not to go the direction those wolves are. And the thing is that, look, I was in a kind of a, Augsburg's important, but it's a smaller town. And there were people who would wear, and they had like dirndls and all that stuff, right? But there were people who would wear, so Trachten is the German word for the kind of clothes we're talking about. There are people who would wear those clothes as part of their everyday clothes. Maybe not full on like Oktoberfest lederhosen, but they were like long leather pants that were lederhosen style that people would wear. People would often wear the Trachtenjacke, the jacket, as just like part of their everyday business wear, or things that are sort of within that style. Oddly, lederhosen reminds me of Ren and Stimpy. Oh, yeah. Why are there wolves? So here's what I was thinking about. I was thinking about a certain kind of privilege, right? And there's a certain kind of privilege that has developed from a kind of a mainstream Western European clothing style that is not hyper-specific, and that if you do anything else that's considered costume or strange, right? Like you can wear pants and a shirt, suit and tie or whatever, like a skirt. And if you wear those things, people are like, oh yeah, you're just wearing normal clothes. But the minute you wear like a sari or Trachten or anything that's a bit more culturally specific to a culture that's not the generic one that has developed, all of a sudden people think that you're doing something weird. And so to think about that, like you're doing something weird that means something, all that kind of stuff. And so to think about what does it mean that the clothing from your culture is framed as a costume primarily, or something strange, or something that you wouldn't normally wear. Um, I just think that's a thing that people often don't think about, right? That if you are going to be wearing the kind of clothing that um, is now dominant in this country, in Western Europe, nobody would ever say anything about it. They wouldn't be like, "Oh, why are you wearing that? Is it a costume? What are you doing?" But the minute you start wearing clothing that might be specific to uh, sort of like the Alpine area, or specific to the cultural tradition of the Basque region, or of Korea, or you name it, right? All of a sudden, it becomes a thing, right? You're not just wearing clothes; it's a thing, and I just feel like that's a thing that people should maybe think about. You know, uh, Canadians do not always wear boots, but when they do wear boots, they wear Royal Canadian boots. Actually, I have no idea what boots they wear. I couldn't even tell you. Couldn't. But do you know what I mean? Like, because I was I was thinking about privilege recently, and I think Stacy says that what you choose to wear is a conversation you're choosing to have with the world. Absolutely. But then also what the world tells you you're allowed to wear and being normal is also a conversation the world is having with you. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? They are comfy and warm. And that's the thing, is that our world has told us that some clothes that were normal and are normal for some people are no longer normal. And I think that that's a thing to think about, right? That's the thing I wanted to think about. And so I was thinking mostly about I was thinking about privilege, and I was thinking about privilege as the ability not to have to think about something, right? That if you are born in this particular tradition and you just put on your regular clothes, you don't have to think about it, right? And nobody's going to challenge you on it or think that you're doing anything strange or something. But if you grow up in a different tradition and you wear your normal clothes, people will be like, "What are you doing? Why are you wearing that costume? Is this like a holiday or what's going on?" Right? You know what I mean? And so, or people will actually wear your regular clothes as a costume. And I just sort of wanted to recognize, right? Sort of like thinking about it in this particular way, right? As, let's use my pry bar, as privilege being about not having to worry about certain things or think about certain things because you are just in. Hey, oh, there's a blizzard going on outside. That's not great, you know? Just gonna say it. Let's just take this fish. We're gonna take all the fishes, and we're gonna get so much fish. It's gonna be amazing. And then I am
I'm
going.
not gonna be able to carry this load for much longer.
Were these super heavy fish? Was that what's going on? What's up with that? Uh, I feel like the fish weren't that heavy. Just fish a little more. Yeah. So anyway, that's what I was thinking about. I was just thinking about privilege in the sense of this is not a thing I have to worry about, and not having to think about what does it mean for you to uh, that it just basically doesn't mean you're not in a special conversation that might get you in trouble or be weird just because you wore the clothes that are like native to your particular culture, which could be a country or a class, uh, right? Like or a region. Doesn't necessarily have to be only uh, from a different country. It could be a number of things. By the way, it feels like it's what time is it? Not oh, not in the so. I feel like we should fish a little bit more. That's all. Uh, the rare Canadian leadfish. Oh, wild magic carpet. Like, look, we got fish. Um, have to have grades on your mind. Oh, actually, I have to do one last batch of grading. Um, after I stream today. It's my last batch of grading that I have to do. And it will be the last batch of grading I do, one way or the other. Like, there's going to be no way around that one. And you're going to ask me what's up with that. Because all of the grades are done. Final grades for everyone are due Friday, tomorrow morning at 9 in the morning. And you might think to yourself, what are these grades you have to do? So, oh, I do actually. But
Come on, little fire.
what I wanted to say was that I have a student who didn't turn in any work all semester and turned in all of the work yesterday. So I have to now grade all of that student's work. Because, you know, now technically I don't have to grade all of that student's work. I could just not. But I'm going to. Because the student has a good excuse. Like, they had a bunch of stuff going on in their life, and so they couldn't do their work. So, you know, I'm trying to be nice about it. You know what I mean? And, you know, trying to be nice about it. And yeah. So yeah. Also, I don't know if we get more calories. We should check. Let's do an experiment. So this fish here is worth 566 calories. Let's see what happens if we cook it. And actually, I don't know if that's true. Oh, it does look like it is worth more calories, though. So that is something. All right. Today's choice is fish. Tomorrow's choice is fish until further notice. Absolutely. And I'm going to just cook this. I'm trying to get as much fish cooked as possible. Ooh. Hello. Fish paused. Oop. You're a good person but it's like you got it all now. Yeah, you know.
I've never been so hungry in my life.
All the grades go as follows. 0, 0, 0, 0. Let's just eat some fish while we're here. And maybe a little bit more fish. Okay, so to finish this thing about the Trachten, what I think, besides thinking about the privilege of having your clothing just be a norm and not like a special choice, but I was also thinking about how, so like in this shop in Bavaria, you can get so people will say like, oh, that's folk, right? That's like folk food, right? It's like,
This pack is getting too heavy to carry.
is it? It's not that bad, actually. It's okay. So people will say, oh, like this is like folk, like a folk tradition. But when people say folk traditions, what they tend to mean is that it's from the past, right? It's ancient history. And so if you're going to wear it, what you're wearing is like something from the ancient past. Like, it's basically still kind of treating it like a costume in some kind of a way. But the thing is, this is part of the point that I wanted to sort of tell you. Trachten can be expensive indeed. That I actually went to, when I was looking at these web pages, let me just pick this up, and then let me
I can barely walk with this much gear.
eat some fish, and then also drink some water, and then we'll have less gear on. It'll be fine. And, you know, there won't be any problems at all. And that said, with no problems, I can probably... I want to know why I'm hearing that clicking sound. I can probably do a little bit more fishing, actually, and then just walk a little bit overburdened. Like, we'll be a little overburdened, but I do want to stay here for, like, in this area. Look, I'm serious about this. I'm hearing a weird clicking sound, everybody, and I don't like it. It's making me nervous.
I'm not going to be able to carry this load
That's all I'm trying to tell you. It makes me nervous. And I don't like it.
Looks like I made
It's like a
night.
popping sound. There it is again. Give me a second, will ya? Like, I'm just gonna look at the back of my monitor because it's freaking me out. And dirndl is not the dress. Nope. Hold on. Let me look. Hey, why are you making weird sounds? What is that about? Why are you making weird sounds? Is there something going on that I need to know about? No? Yes? All right, well, okay. I'm going to trust that whatever it was is not a thing I have to worry about, at least. I know how it feels. Years ago, I don't have it anymore. Mother thought it was weird when I bought a jacket synonymous with fashion in Dresden, Germany, where most of her family's from. Oh, nice. Uh, yeah, no, I just, Dirndl is the person wearing the outfit. The dress is called Gewand. Um, Tricky, yes. So, oh, so here's the thing I was going to say about, like, about, I feel like we can get one more round of fishing, and we'll just carry it. You're going to turn my trust into self-righteous suicide? Okay. So, we just did 1 hour of fishing, and I kind of feel like we should do one more. It feels like it's... Okay. All right, so here's what I want to tell you. It's like important. So people like to imagine these things, right, are like the folk is the past and it's ancient and it's no longer relevant, right? And it's like this ancient moment. But the thing is... Ooh. Hello, exciting deer. I would kill you and take your leather. Hold on. Do I need it? Hold on, I have to look. Deerskin pants. I need 3 leather hide, 4 cured gut, a workbench. Do I have that? I don't know. There's also there's so many things I could just eat. I'm gonna go back and assess my stuff. That's what I'm gonna do. Yeah. So, the thing about the myth, right, of the folk is that people are still wearing so what I want to tell you is I went to this website to go and look up, lederhosen because I wanted some. And when I went to look, here's what I found. This year's fashion in Trachten is different than it was when I bought my lederhosen before. It's not like you go in and they always look the same. It's actually it's a living tradition. It's the same thing with Hanbok or Sari that get all these things, right? These are actually like living traditions, and every year there's a different style that comes out. There are different fashions and trends, and they're doing different things with the style and the fashion. And so I think that there's like a desire to fix traditions in the past to make them ancient and history but not present. But that's actually just not true. People actually are still existing in the present and continuing to innovate. That's all. Does lederhosen enhance our dreams? Yes. I think, yeah, I do. I have some gut and leather. It's just drying out right now, so I'm just waiting for it to finish drying out. And that's one of the reasons why we went fishing, is to give us just like another day or two, because I don't want to leave this area until I have made these leather pants. So I want to make sure that I have like enough deer hide and gut and all of that so that I can make these leather pants, so that basically we don't waste supplies. Because if we have to drop all of our stuff, which they often make you drop all your stuff in between chapters. So if we have to drop all of our stuff, that means that all of this time we spent like drying out this hide was wasted. So I just want to use as much of the supplies we have here, and then before we move on. Oh my. So that was the lederhosen conversation that I was like, there was some really interesting, like, I saw like a completely white pair of lederhosen, not like a light brown or a gray, which I'm used to seeing, but like a completely different style and some different embroidery. So it was kind of cool. The past can be very present. On Tuesday was the 17th of May, the Norwegian Constitution Day, and all the people on Karl Johan and Bunda is so beautiful. Hello! You need to drop all your stuff. You had to drop all your stuff one time. No, it was more than once, Krellin, because there was the time in the... here's the thing. There was the time after that first episode where we had to climb down that rappelling rope before we could go and meet the old guy in the cabin, but you can't rappel on the rope if you're over encumbered. So I had to dump stuff then. I think you have to dump stuff in between episodes. Maybe not chapters in an episode, but I think between episodes. And I'm just a little nervous. So I just want to try to be practical. That's because you're not supposed to be. I want to rock the white letter. It was nice, by the way. It was very cool. Center steps. In time, in the dam, and at time. Yes, right. Dam and cliff. And by the way, I'm sure when I wake up and I'm Mackenzie again, I won't have any of my stuff anymore. I'm sure they will have stolen it. Rude. Okay, so I had a question to ask Krellin. And the question, I asked it on the internet, but I did want to ask it here. So I played 2nd edition, Vampire the Masquerade, and I was familiar with 2nd edition Werewolf, Mage, Changeling, Wraith, Hunter less so, Mummy less so, but a little. Yeah, I was like familiar with those things. But my question, I stopped. I did not move past 2nd edition. I did not go to revised. And so once I could no longer find 2nd edition people to play with, I just stopped playing World of Darkness. Oh, I'm also familiar with some other stuff from White Wolf. Like I played a lot of Aberrant, so I'm familiar with Aberrant, Trinity. There's that whole thing right there. Anyway, point being that because I stopped engaging with the World of Darkness once I could no longer find people who were doing not revised, that means I never engaged with the new World of Darkness, Vampire Requiem, and et cetera, et cetera. Now, I still knew people who were playing Vampire, of course. It wasn't like I was completely out of the loop and ignorant and had no knowledge about all the stuff. I mean, I still knew stuff. But one of the things that I knew is that a lot of people I knew who liked old World of Darkness were just really angry about the new World of Darkness. They're like, "Meh." There was a lot of rage. And I was like, and then a lot of people that I knew who really liked 2nd edition revised were really happy that V20 came out and like Werewolf 20, all that stuff. They're really happy to go back to the pre-New World of Darkness because they didn't like the New World of Darkness. And now, of course, 5th edition. So the question I wanted to ask was, Krellin gave a really nice one-word, succinct description of the change between old Changeling and new Changeling. That in old Changeling you are like, the scions of a faded glory of the Fey realm and all of that, right? I knew a lot of people who were like princes and princesses of the Fey realm who were misunderstood and cast out into banality, and nobody could understand how special they were. And then two changelings who had been kidnapped by the Fae and were now put back to the mortal realm and had to deal with it. And that was such a nice summation of the difference between, like, it was really nice, succinct summation between New World and Old World of Darkness. So my question is, could you do that for each of the different ones? Do you know what I mean? Like, could you do a similar pithy summary for the difference between New World and Old World Vampire, Werewolf, Mage? Trooper evolved to Steppenwolf. I'm having to use the Promethean book stuff for information for my current mage character. Oh, interesting. For knowledge base mainly. Oh, interesting. Okay. It's Vampire the Requiem, Werewolf the Forsaken, Changing the Lost, and Mage the Awakening. I don't think they relaunched Wraith. I don't think they did either. I have something I want to share with you. Not at the moment, but I want to hear your summation first, because I'm actually really interested. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We got a bunch of fish, so that's great. All that fish, by the way, is super heavy, and we're just going to be eating it, so it'll be grand. Like I said, I know nothing about werewolf, but let me try vampire mage. Please do. Bunden is the traditional Norwegian Trachten, and sorry, the Bavarian Trachten is a very contemporary fashion because they share it all over. In Norway, you have to wear the type from the place you are from. Well, yeah, because in Norway, it looks like they're trying to preserve some kind of myth of ancientness, but so therefore it's not a living tradition, right? But in Bavaria, they're trying to they want it. It's not like it's the ancient past; it's the present day, right? Like, it's not like there's a difference between doing like, oh, I want to do this thing from the past because it's the past and I'm going to make it the past. I'm not going to change it. And it has to be the way it was in the past. Or, so then it's like fixed. It's like a museum and something that is actually just part of the culture. Like nobody thinks that we should not be wearing the clothes that I'm wearing right now. That like it's wrong that the t-shirts now look different from the t-shirts like 100 years ago, or that our pants look different or whatever, right? Like it is considered normal and acceptable and actually expected that the clothes that I'm wearing will change in fashion over time. But people often like to sort of say that what we will call folk clothing should never change or else it's fake now, right? But like the Bavarians like are, for them, their national clothing is just part of their living tradition. They don't need to artificially keep it in the past like it's a bug stuck in amber, right? They can just like live. Yeah. Yeah. It's actually really interesting because I have heard rumor that they're not going to relaunch all of the different. I heard rumor that they're not going to relaunch all 4 core World of Darkness books for the 5th edition. Right? So if you think of the core 4, right, the first 4 that come out, right, would be Vampire, Werewolf, Mage, and then Changeling, I think. Changeling is 4. And I heard rumor that they're not going to do all 4. So, and I'm like, I wonder why. I heard they might not do... Well, and when I say relaunch, what I heard is like, oh yeah, some things will just be for video games and not for RPGs, which I think is pretty weird, actually. I mean, I can understand not relaunching some things, but it's a little odd to me, the rumor that I heard they're not going to relaunch all 4 of the core, which feels weird. Feels weird to me. And I wonder why. Because all 4 of them had pretty decent audiences. So what is it about? I can't remember which one. I know they're doing Werewolf. I can't remember which one they're not doing. Is it Mage they're not doing? Or Changing they're not doing? I don't know. So let's see. Krellin says, vampires used to be defined by the curse that afflicted them, by stint of the blood of their ancestors. Yep. New vampires are instead different myths of vampires all interacting. Oh. So old vampires were all one people, differing by race. New vampires are different species. Oh, interesting. Huh. Interesting. So what were they like? I mean, did you still have... Okay, wait. So, like, for example, in New World of Darkness, did you still have, like, Nosferatu and Tremere and all of that? Like, did you still have those? But the difference was that the conception of them is that they had different ancestors. They were different, like... There was no unifying mythology that... Like, there was no Cain, right, out of which they were all descended. Is that the takeaway of New World of Darkness vampires? Krellin says, and old mages were will workers who changed consensual reality, battling amongst themselves for the future of reality. Yep. New mages are students of ancient secrets, trying to topple the oppressive reality imposed by ancient kings. Whoa, that's really different. That's a big difference. A lot happened there. Huh. I would like clarification about vampire lineages, because that's interesting to me. I would like to know more about it. Okay. By the way, here we are in the community hall. We're going to just go in here and grab some wood, because we have some. It's going to make us a little heavy, but it's okay, because we're just going to go and actually cook everything right now, which will, be fine. We should be okay. And also, this is a great stove. It has so many like cooking spots that it'll be great. So let's start a fire. Oh, hey, guess what? We are out of sticks, but that's okay because I have this stick which we can harvest and use that, and it'll be fine. No, Noodle of Darkness is limited to like 5 different vampire types. So there were still Nosferatu and Ventru, but that's because some vampires were twisted beasts and others were regal predators. Oh, interesting. Okay. Oh, interesting. Oh, ooh, Krellin. I'm gonna tell you something. I'm not bothered by what you're telling me. I'm not like offended by what you just said. However, I could see how a lot of people who played Old World of Darkness would freak out because you know how many people identified with vampire clans very personally. It wasn't like, oh, I'm playing a character who's a Toreador. It's like, I am a Toreador.
Oh, yeah.
That's who I really am on the inside. And if I were a vampire, I would be a Toreador. And nobody understands that. You know what I mean? Like, people got kind of intense about their relationship to vampire clans. It was a whole thing, and I can imagine that anybody who like was very invested in whichever vampire clans they just got rid of would lose their mind, just lose their mind. I can't imagine. Wow. I am just thinking that that probably was. Yeah, yeah. Oh, hello. Yeah, those are my thoughts on that one. That there would be a lot of problems. I can imagine that people just were not okay.
I'm not sure I can carry much more.
Uh, that's my thought on that one. By the way, I'm just making sure these. Step one of a game is based around faction identity. Mm-hmm. Okay, brief wiki dive labor. Do not axe the factions. But the thing is, like, and this is about like a relationship between take it, take it, take it, take it. 42 minutes. Sure. Why don't we load up on water, even though it'll make us a little, overburdened, but I feel like it's okay. I think it'll be okay. Just take this, and then...
This pack is getting too heavy to carry.
I know it is, but I feel like it'll be okay. And also, of course, we ran out of water. I'm going to ponder how I feel about this just for a moment as we sort of think about this, because anyway, what I wanted to say was, like, just because you like a clan doesn't mean you are the clan. Like, some kind of there I will tell you this about Vampire that I think was sometimes a bit of a problem. There was a lot of bleed. There was a lot of bleed. There was a lot of bleed is what I'm trying to tell you. There are people there who really had a hard time separating their character from themselves. Oh, hey. I think I know what...
Come on, little fire.
Oop. Nope, failed attempt. Awkward. Okay, let's try again. Let's see what happens. Like, there is some inappropriate bleed, is what I'm trying to tell you. The 5 vampires are the Deva, Seductive Vampires, Gangrel, Bestial Vampires, Mekit, Shadowy Vampires, Nosferatu, Twisted Vampires, and Ventru, Regal Vampires. Interesting. I failed to start that fire again, everybody. Let's try again. Do you think it's related to the real-world setting and or character drama vibes? I actually think it is related to the fact that a lot of the people who played Vampire felt like outsiders, and vampires were also outsiders, right? So I think that there's like a... Oh, okay, add fuel. Hey, there we go. Nice. So I think that was actually quite a bit of it, right? That people... Yeah, I think that there was quite a bit of... It's a different function, Look how much less I'm carrying right now, everybody. It's a sort of a different function of, hey, and everything is cured. So that's really good. We might, let's see if we have enough to make these pants. We need, let's see, for deerskin pants, we need 3 cured deer hides, 4 cured gut, and a workbench. Let's see what we have. We need...
I can barely walk with this much gear.
Okay, so here's the deal. We need 1 more deer hide, I think is what it is. I think in order to make what we want to make... Yeah, we need another deer hide. And that takes a while to cure, but I don't want to leave this area without it. So, what I am going to propose is that we go off and kill a deer. This is my proposition. I've got 1 piece of wood, which I'll take with me. I've got some clothing. I'm going to keep the food because I'm going to need it because we're going to go off to kill things. But I'm going to drop, you know, the hide and the guts and all of that. Yeah. Yeah. We're going to go kill a deer. Probably should have killed that deer while we were out there, right? But yeah. Colonel, this camera only across all vampires. I think it's probably... in the case of Norway, I do not think so, because then there would be not so many wearing it, and then they wear it more than once a year, and in a way to show that they are Norwegian independent. See, that's what I mean. They first got to be themselves as a country in 1900, and before that they have been a part... Yeah. What I'm trying to say is that this is about nationalism, Ice Bunny. Many people don't, you know, they want to sort of normalize nationalism and the fictions of nationalism, but that's about nationalism. That's about sort of creating, it's about nationalism. And nationalism needs certain kinds of things to stay fixed, right? And that is a different thing than having a different changing identity. Right. Nationalism is about saying, no, this is like, we are fixed in stone in certain ways and we will continue to wear it. But like, it's about proving a particular kind of fixed identity that does not, it's a whole bunch of stuff. It's about certain kinds of myth making. Looking forward at the World of Darkness website, it looks like the only ones coming back are Vampire Hunter and Werewolf. Aha! Since they're the only ones presented for the Nexus thing. So only Vampire Hunter and Werewolf and not... See, I thought it was Mage. I remember thinking, wait, you're not going to bring back Mage? That's weird. Because I thought Mage was pretty popular. I think they're going to make video games out of it, but I'm pretty surprised that they're not going to bring back Mage, you know? Yeah. I think... New World of Darkness sounds interesting. If I were like, I think I might have enjoyed it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I might have had a good time with it. I wouldn't look because I was hoping for Mage since I'm playing. Yeah. Mage is more popular than Hunter. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And so there's something very interesting to me about the fact that they're not bringing back Mage, and I do wonder why. By the way, I'm looking at chat, so if you see a deer, you should tell me because I might miss it. So we're going to be just like wandering about. And if you see a deer that I don't see, you should tell me. Like if I'm looking at chat, you know, and there's a deer that I missed because I'm looking at chat, you should just tell me so I can try to murder it. You know, as you do. Because like, right. Also, each New World of Darkness vampire clan had a unique discipline. Only Deva had Majesty. Only Gangrel had Protean, only Mecca had Auspex, only Nosferatu had Nightmare, which is sort of like Dementation, and only Venture had Dominate. Interesting. So mad because the Moving Gods took my first edition, vampire book when I moved to Seattle. Ooh, yeah. So like, I actually think that I might have enjoyed Vampire the Requiem. I mean, I would have to play it, right? and see, but I don't think I would be necessarily inherently opposed to it. I can't wait to get the World of Darkness Nexus because I want to see the new Vampire stuff. Mm-hmm. That's when he says, is it nationalism when it's a colonized country is celebrating? Yes. Yes, it is. Yes, it is nationalism. Because those things are part of myths, right? The stories of not, like... Okay, let me tell you something. In the what was it? The Colonial Exposition of, like, 1920 or 1930, one of those colonial expositions, which was... It might have been the one of 29. I can't remember which one it was. Not the point. The point is, as a matter of fact, being like, we are celebrating that we're no longer colonized is very often exactly how nationalism works. There's not quite a lot of that actually in there. Yes, indeed. So anyway, we should probably head over here because I saw there was that deer by the lake. So maybe we'll find one there. Anyway, yes, Colonial Exposition. So the Colonial Exposition was I think it was probably in Paris. Well, I can see why they leave out Mage. Mage doesn't play with the others, in the sense that if you incorporate Mage into World of Darkness, the Mages pretty much take over. So I think it was in Paris. Anyway, so the organizers invited all the colonial powers to go and present exhibits. I think it must have been the late 20s one. Exhibits of their colonized spaces, right? So kind of like living human zoos and dioramas. It was kind of gross. Anyway, so it was like, France would go and have like a Martinique hall or like area. And then like Germany would have its like Botswana or whatever. Like each place would like set up these dioramas of all the places they had colonized. And the United States did its diorama because the United States was invited, because, oh, hey, who do you think killed this wolf? It's going to be a lot of meat, everybody. I'm not going to take the guts, but I will take the meat.
It's dusk, so I can't be far behind. I'm not going to be able to carry this load for much longer.
And we're going to have to get to this... We're going to have to get to the lake, because we can sleep there, and we can also... and hopefully we'll find like a deer there, and we can probably cook this wolf. I don't have a lot of... what do you call it? I don't have a lot of fire making stuff, but I feel like we probably have enough to go forward. Okay, so as I was saying, when the United States went to go put its colonial dioramas up, what they did was they didn't put in any of the places we have colonized, which, by the way, we have done. They actually just put a log cabin up and had like a diorama of like Washington and Lincoln. And their whole thing was like, we were the colonized. We Americans, are like the victims of colonization from all the rest of you Europeans. And so it became this whole way to sort of show off how amazing we were as Americans. And it was a way to sort of emphasize, right, American nationalism by framing ourselves as not the colonizers, but as the colonized. And that is a thing that people do all the time. All the time. And as a matter of fact, talking about how you've been oppressed is often a way that people do nationalism. And how, like, those people, hurt you. And that's often how you sort of... Like, look, one of the main ways in which you do nationalism is that you invent an identity that often is not exactly everything that happened before. And you set up an external other. You set up an enemy that is the enemy of you, against which you can then identify and make yourself... a coherent identity. a lot of nationalism does not involve being like, oh, we're cool. It's often like, and they invaded us, or they attacked us, we lost the Battle of Kosovo in 1116, or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? It's about um, framing someone else as the villain against which you identify yourself. And that form of nationalism is inherently dangerous because it has a built-in enemy that you can then use to whip up violent fervor. And often it's based on ideas of like racial purity or cultural purity. By the way, I'm going to sing that. And also often it's based, this is amazing looking, by the way. It's beautiful. And it's also often feeds anti-immigrant sentiment, ethno-nationalism. It can, like, nationalism is not a good thing, is what I'm trying to say. It leads to a whole bunch of things, and it often involves a lot of lies, a lot of myths and stories that are just not true. It's about inventing things that are not true in order to create a much less messy picture of your place than is actually accurate, right? It's about inventing a people that never existed before and then telling those people that they've always existed, often through myths and conflations, and then using that new people that you've just made up and getting them to feel so strong about this new thing that is not a real thing, that you just made it up, right? That they will go to war. Let us see if we can get into this place before wolves come. Let's see if we can get there before the wolves get to us, because if we can get in here, we'll be safe. And that'll be great. And then we won't have any problems. Right? Let's see. Let's just close that door, shall we? Yeah. Yeah, we're going to just close that door. And it's going to be awesome. And then it's late at night, and we're going to just go to sleep. We're just going to go to sleep. And we'll get some rest. It'll be great. I still want to kill a deer, though. That's a thing that I want to do. But I probably should have saved, but I didn't. And I feel like that's probably okay. But I'm gonna save now and then catch up on chat. Here, let me save. All right. All right. Slight tangent. Does anyone know of a country where the independence revolt was done by the colonists other than the US? By the colonists? I think South Africa. Canada and Australia are difficult because they're still technically part of the Dominion. They didn't have like a violent revolution, but they have. But I mean, like, they're basically a bunch of settler colonialist countries that have that gained their independence. Mexico from Spain. Basically a lot of the New World, right? A lot of the New World. Their independence was gained either from Spain or from. Very few of the New World countries got their. It was the colonized who fought and won their freedom. It was often the colonizers. So actually, I don't. Yeah, I think it's that happens quite a lot actually. Do you have us U.S. American trotting other than what the First Nation people would traditionally wear? Um, for the colonizers, the closest thing that I would say we would have, and it's not a completely good analogy, would be country and Western gear, because country and Western gear is like a kind of a myth, is like a mythologized, the rugged American West. There's a mythologized sort of idea of the West that comes out of that. And people will wear it as a costume, but some people actually, it's also some people's actual just regional. Yeah, I suppose Western wear is maybe the closest you could get. It's not like a completely good analogy, but it's pretty good in that it is a mythologic. It's like there were actual people who wore this clothing for specific purposes, practical purposes, who still wear it, and the clothing itself has transformed and changed over time, but it is often held up as a costume of the American mythological ideal that people will put on as a costume, and that people's imagination of it is often a little bit unchanging in some ways. Kind of 1930s singing cowboy. So I'd say maybe Western wear, and then that, of course, that wear then becomes like somehow conflated with the entire country. So I would say perhaps Western wear might be the best example of a parallel, although not completely good. And part of it is that U.S. nationalism works differently than European nationalism, because U.S. is a settler colonialist nation rather than um, not, right. Um, so it just works a little bit differently. Like the mythologies we have to make are just a little bit different. We have to tell slightly different stories to make it work than you do in Europe or Asia. Yeah. Um, no ankles have been sprained tonight, Hawkeye. Uh, yeah, t-shirts and jeans are American inventions, but they don't work as folk clothing. They just work as regular clothing. We are having help, not now wolves. I know, right? Uh, how are you? How are you? How we roll? We're talking about nationalism and also trying to get enough deerskin hides. We have to kill a deer so that we can go and make these pants before we leave. Um, yeah, South Africa is definitely one, right? South Africa. No, Haiti is one of the only. I think it is the only successful slave rebellion, slave revolt. So I think Haiti. There's a little bit tricky because Jamaica had the Maroon rebellions, but they didn't really count in the exact same way. But Haiti sort of thought of as the only successful, at least New World slave revolt, right? Because you wouldn't count what happens in Africa as slave revolts, because those were just the revolts of the colonized, right, to reject the colonizer. So Haiti is considered, I think, we'd have to see if there are any other examples, but I normally see it described as the first and or perhaps only successful slave revolt. Mm. That resulted in a country, right? At the back end. Although Haiti, um, uh, Irish lad has many opinions here. No, it's interesting because the thing, right? Because Ireland wasn't a slave revolt, right? But Ireland is a colonized country, right? Who then is actually still struggling, right, to throw off the colonizers and deal with genocide, right? Like genocidal practices, right? So I mean, like that's a oh, thank you, Rissa. We were probably the longest between colonized and freedom, and depending on your politics, right? Depending on your politics, one could argue that you're not completely there yet, right? Because of Northern Ireland. I mean, again, depending on your politics, I'm sure there are people who would argue that it's not complete, right? It's not finished yet, right? Because of Northern Ireland. So, I mean, depending on how you want to count freedom, right? The Irish Party won North Ireland, so unification may actually come in 2024, like the next generation prophesies. Interesting. There is no genocidal practices. Is more the freedom fighters and unionists are basically crime gangs now. No, no, no. I meant Oh, you mean now versus then? Because I mean, there was like just straight up genocide, right? Like there were genocidal practices, starvation, etc. Like, and also like cultural genocide too, right? All that stuff that was happening. Um, uh, yeah, but I mean, I know some people who are Irish nationalists of a sort. Often they're Americans who believe that Ireland is not free as long as Northern Ireland is not part of the Republic of Ireland, and so they argue that Ireland is still colonized. That as long as there are British nationals on the soil of Ire, that it is still colonized and it's not yet free. So for some folks, the era of colonization has not ended. Is yeah, yep. There was one particular admin in the 1840s famine who basically managed the famine. We exported food as millions died. Yeah, not free until all four green fields are united. Basically, yes, yes. So I mean, and different people have different opinions on that one. Like not everybody feels the same way, and Irish Americans are particularly nationalist in a way that sometimes people who are Irish are not in the same way, right? So like it is tricky. We have still not returned to the population of no. I mean, I don't. I think that'll probably take. I mean, uh, you talk about decimation, right? If you kill more than 10% of the population, right? That's when you start talking about genocide. And more than 10% of the Irish population died or fled or left, right? Came to the United States out of that moment. It was like the kind of cultural damage that happens to a country when that happens is pretty profound. And then, of course, the English also helped engineer the Bengal famine, which has not yet happened in Colas, but will be coming a little bit later in the timeline, where just millions and millions of people in India died because of a famine that the British basically manufactured to pressure them to go fight. It was, there's just like a lot there. Um, Basically, all post-industrial famines have been political. Yeah, just bad distribution, not an actual lack of food. Maybe we're gonna have an exception soon. And sometimes it wasn't accidental bad distribution. Sometimes it was deliberate, right? A deliberate move to punish people, right? The majority of my generation on this island are becoming more progressive. The consensus is turning to Northern Ireland should be its own nation. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, interesting. Um, that's interesting. My understanding is that this current generation of Irish people are just quite progressive in general and have got a lot of stuff going on, which is pretty cool. So then you're like, oh, neat. Um, oh no, I'm saying it was, nice, Krellin. Thank you. Uh, I was actually just thinking about when the Romans went and salted northern Africa, right? Carthage just salted it to destroy their ability to grow food, right? They salted the earth. Yeah. Problem is, it probably couldn't support an economy. This is a Republic of Ireland view. Well, I suppose the Northern Ireland opinion is changing too, but slowly. I mean, I suppose we'd see, right? Because it depends. There's some pretty small countries, right? You know what I mean? That like somehow sustain an economy, sometimes through tourism. I mean, I don't know. I know that there was a lot of debate about whether or not Scotland could sustain its own economy if they, you know, exited the United Kingdom. Uh, and some people said they could not. Some people said they could. Some people said they could because of oil. Some people said, yeah, that oil does not belong to you. So there's like, I mean, all those things are very big debates. No, Rome is not post-industrial, not at all. Uh, but that was like deliberate. That was deliberate. Um, and I also think about the ways in which sometimes independence is not always great for everyone involved. Um, I'm probably streaming till about like 9:30 is what I would say, and then I'm gonna do grading. Um, so I was thinking about, for example, um, when I'll give you two examples. When the when Czechoslovakia broke apart to be its independent subnations, that was pretty great for the Czech Republic, but not so great for Slovakia. Um, and oftentimes you have either much richer places that want to split off, which will then disadvantage the smaller places. That often happens. Um, and like, yeah, yeah. All borders are bullshit. Yes, yes, you are, Hawkeye. I'm getting close. I'm getting close. I think I've got one more episode to watch before I'm all caught up, which I'm very excited about. The major benefit we have in our favor, both sides of the border, is about 70% of people go to uni. Oh, that's good. Something I believe led to our love vote, equal marriage, legalizing abortion, and much more. Yeah. This is in a country where the movie The Life of Brian was still illegal in the 90s. You know, I got to tell you, Ireland has transformed so quickly. I mean, abortion was illegal. Like, I mean, we're gonna go back to the United States, but like, the Republic of Ireland has transformed itself so radically in the last 30 years. It's pretty astonishing. Like, you could call it. I mean, I feel like you could call it a nonviolent cultural revolution, right? Which is pretty astonishing, and I'm sure it has something to do with the Celtic Tiger, and a number of other factors that allowed that to happen. But like, you know, good on young people from Ireland. You know, condoms, hoax, factually all illegal in the late 80s to 90s. Yeah, right. Like it's pretty. It was pretty amazing, right? I think, and I always find that sort of thing myself actually very heartening because people often say things like, "Oh, things can't change, and nothing can change. Everything sucks. Everything's the worst, and everything will be bad." And I was like, "Oh, well, hold on. Things have changed, and some things have changed very radically in ways and very quickly. It can absolutely happen. You can have change that. I mean." Not, and I don't believe it just because I'm an optimist. I believe it because I've seen it happen. Like I've seen amazing change happen and also sometimes really awful change happen, right? And so I always think that we have to be vigilant. We can't just give up because radical change can happen very, very quickly. And if you're not working uh, to help decide, to help direct the flow of that change, then some other people might, and those people may not be the people you want doing that, is all I'm saying. You know what I mean? Uh, yeah. So, the name game. By the way, I just wanted to say we're going to try to do a giveaway for a game. So just make sure you say something in chat in the next 5 minutes, and then we'll do a giveaway because I feel like it's that time. We're going to do the King's Bird. I was having some trouble the last time around trying to get the keys to work, so we're going to try this time around. Let's see if it works. All right, so as I was saying, the name game. Come on, everybody. I said, now let's play a game. I bet you I can make a rhyme out of anybody's name. The first letter of the name. I treat it like it wasn't there. And then a B or an F. Or an M will appear. Then I say Bo at a B, then I say the name, then banana, fan, or info. Then I say the name again with an F, very plain, and a fee, fi, and a mo. And then I say the name again with an M this time, and there isn't any name that I can rhyme. Hawkeye, 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 but Buckeye, banana, fan, for fuck eye, fee, got fi, mo, mock guy. Hawkeye, the name game. Yeah. So nice. My uneducated theory is that the uni thing, but also in the recession of the 80s, Irish all went to US and UK, and again in the aughts went around the world. All the people returned with broader horizons. Oh. Ice Bunny says, Rissa, I hope you scream in his face when he has to go and get the unfun stuff done, and just look what a pair of leather pants has brought to us. Leather pants is what I'm trying to tell you. It's always leather pants. Look, I heard it again. I heard that sound again. I don't know what it is. However, so I had a thought about this. I was thinking about. I wanted to tell you a story. How we roll? See, I just think there's something going on over there with that monitor that makes me worried. But you know, we are going to deal with it somehow. I'm gonna make this. We're gonna. It's distressing me is what I'm trying to tell you. We'll just have to use a torch to start this fire. Um, oh, I should have used different matches. That bunny's gonna eat you with a cup of tea. Hey, I can handle it. Okay, so look, this one. Oh, we're also gonna do a giveaway. Don't let me forget. So one of the things I wanted to tell you was, by the way, embers, add fuel, some fir firewood. Let's cook out that wolf. Oh, we have a lot of wolf meat, y'all. Not ideal, because it's also rancid. Why is... Oh, if we cook it, I think it'll be fine. Right? Like, I think it'll be fine if we cook it. I think. Yeah, like, I feel like...
Looks like a new day is dawning.
Moldy. Well, I mean... can't be... How bad can that be, right? I feel like it'll be okay. I think, sure. Yeah. Right? Is it moldy? Yes. Does that mean we can't eat it? I don't know. Yeah, okay. So... Uh... Let's hope we don't get food poisoning. How about that? Let's eat some of this moldy wolf meat, and I feel like we'll be fine, right? Like I feel like we'll be fine. Maybe. I have to come out. Okay, so okay. Wait. We're gonna do the giveaway. We're gonna find out who the winner is, and we're gonna do the giveaway. And then I had a thought that I want to share. Oh yeah, Evan, I want to tell you. I want to tell you a story. But who's our winner? Hey, Krellin, Nightbot's into you again. You know how it is. You know how Nightbot is. Nightbot is like into your space. Also, for some reason, you're not following the channel. I don't know what that's about, Krellin. Also, I don't believe that you're not following the channel. I think you are. Krellin. Nightbot just can't quit you. Hey, Krellin, if you, would you, can I give you this key and have you go and test it? It's a, well, that's what they call it, but I don't know if that's actually true. Let's see. What do they call it? The King's Bird. Let's see. The King's Bird is a precision platformer developed by American indie game studio Serenity Forge and published by the Canadian indie game publisher Graffiti Games. The game was developed in Unity and released for Microsoft Windows on August 23rd, 2018. I don't know why they called it an action game. It looks like a platformer, is what it looks like. It looks like a platformer. Yeah, it's a platformer, is what it is. I don't know why they call it that. Yes. You're like, no. I don't, yeah. Okay. Fair. All right, fair enough. We're going to see. We're going to get a different winner. If you say Krellin. Nightbot. Oh, Rissa. Will you test this for me? Because I really need to test. I need somebody who's not me to test these keys. So this will be very helpful for me if you would. If you would be so willing. I would appreciate it. Also, I don't know why Nightbot. I feel there must be some kind of like a Nightbot error that has nothing to do with us whatsoever, is what I think. That's what I think. So, okay, good. I'm sending this to you, and I'm going to be doing this like in a, experimental way. Tell me if it works. If it doesn't work, I'm going to try something different, and then, like, tell me if that code doesn't work. If it doesn't work, I'm going to try a code from this month's Humble Bundle, which really should work. And if that doesn't work, then I'm going to think something else is going on. So this is my experiment that you are helping me with. Okay, yeah. So, how we roll. I remember I was talking to this woman. I don't know if I told you the story. An Irish woman who was. Hey, look. Hey, look. This is it. This is it. Wait. Wait. Come on. I need to kill you. Why are you going away? Come back. Will you just come back so I can kill you? Are you coming back? I'm going to guess that our deer's going to come back so I can kill it and then take its hide. I don't have many bullets left, which is a bummer. Kill it, take its hide, and then let that hide dry out. And then once the hide dries out, I can make those pants, and then we'll leave Pleasant Valley. But I feel like there's no need to leave Pleasant Valley just yet, because, you know. Oh, I hit you. No. On the move. Wow. Weird. Weird to me. Weird to me. I'm going to, right now, get the things that I need to get. And then we're going to go back to, oh, that's a lot of, it's a lot of meat. I kind of don't care. We're going to see if how much we can carry. I mean, we'll see what we can do. It was like a, I don't know what I did with Trooper. Woo! It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. We're gonna be okay. We're gonna be okay. Let's just eat some food right now. Get ourselves a little bit, like, you know, right? And it looks like that was like a lot of... Hey, you know what? We can still move. We're gonna save one more time because we got that, and I don't want to lose it. We're gonna go back to the town hall, right? We're gonna cook up all that meat on the big giant stove. We're gonna let this hide dry out so that we have enough hide to go and make these leather skin pants, and then we're gonna make them, and then we're gonna leave Pleasant Valley. And I know it takes a couple of days to, for stuff to dry out, but I feel like we have enough food at this point in time that we can sort of like wait through those days. The trooper I know can only shoot wolves. The only time I've ever seen an animal go down like that was when they were shot in the head. Yeah, but I'm gonna want to eat it. Do you know what I mean? I mean, that other wolf meat might not be good, but I feel like it, because, like, doesn't it take like 5 days? What is going on? Hey, something's going on, everybody. I don't know if you noticed it. Oh, it worked. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. I don't know if you saw anything, but I feel like the screen flickered, and I don't know if this is me or not me, or if it's something else, or what's what. Yeah, there was a little pause, right? So I just want to sort of point out for the record that I think something weird's happening, because I told you I heard something weird. I wasn't just making it up. There was weirdness, and I saw it. But I'm just registering it for the moment, just so we can, like, in case anything weird happens, I want you to know. See, the thing is, but here's the thing I'm going to tell you, by the way. I finished the story about that woman I met. There was a weird clicking sound on my upper monitor, my second monitor, and I was like, oh, that's weird. And then the monitor was like being a little bit strange. But then I just saw a flickering on all 3 monitors, which is not going to be the case of, that's not like an HDMI cable, you know what I mean? Like, that's like a larger situation. So I wonder if there's something with power going on in this dorm is my next question. Is there like a power situation with the dorm? Because that could be it. I don't know. I cannot say, but be aware. Be aware. Okay, so thank you, Rissa, and I will make a note of that. All right, so here's what I'm going to say about this woman, and I know I've told this story before, but I don't think Howie Roll heard it. So I met this woman. She was Irish, and she was a waitress. Um, sure, she was a waitress in Boston. She was doing her like summer abroad. Like there's like a program that we have with Ireland specifically, where people who are Irish can come to the United States and work, like in the summer. And I don't know if we can. I imagine we can do the same. Anyway, so, ooh, this doesn't look good. But at least we're not losing heat super super quickly. Would be my thought. J1 visa, thank you. So I was chatting with her, and I was like, hey, chat, 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 chatty, chat, 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 chat. A lot of Irish people who come to the United States on that J1 visa, a lot of times what ends up happening is they get work in Irish bars, American Irish bars, because American Irish bars love people from Ireland because they're so authentic. And so I was like, hey, welcome to the United States. Shouldn't be there very long. All your siblings did it? Massive cultural thing here. Can do it if you are in uni or within like 2 years of graduating, I think. Yes, I think so. And I will note this. We do not extend this to all other countries. Many countries are not allowed to come here. People who are at university don't get to be here at all. United States. Think about that, United States, what we're doing. Anyway, so I was like, hey, so you're Irish? And she's like, yep. And I was like, what do you think, like, what is your experience with Irish Americans? Like, what is your experience with Irish Americans? Like, how is that for you? What do you think about it? And she said she didn't. Now, this was in Boston, right? And Boston has a very particular sort of Irish American community. And she was like, I don't like it. And I was like, what's up? She's like, well, first off, I really wish that Irish Americans would stop thinking I want to hear racist things, because I don't. Like, I'm not really interested in all the racist things they have to say. And I really wish they would stop assuming that I would agree with them, because I don't. Ireland, she says to me, is a very diverse country with people from all over the world. And I do not appreciate their assumption that I'd be, like, cool with all their racism. And I was like, oof. And then the other thing she said was, she's like, and also, I'm really tired of Irish Americans assuming that we live in the 1860s. It's not the 1860s in Ireland anymore. We have computers. And she was just generally, and then like, and she's like, and all this like Irish folk music, as if we don't have modern stuff. Like, she was just basically very frustrated with a kind of a nationalist imagination of Ireland as existing from the 19th century in a particular kind of a way. And she was like, I don't want to participate in any of that. It's not interesting. I think it's gross, and I don't want to hear it, and I don't want to be involved in it. And so that was very interesting to me, her discomfort, right, with Irish American, Irish nationalism and mythologies about Ireland, which she did not appreciate. Yeah. The proverbial more Irish than Irish, yeah. I bet Ireland would be a pretty neat place to live. I imagine every place is neat in its own way. Do you know what I mean? Like, I really do. I always, that's part of like my thinking. I think a lot of places are probably really interesting in their own ways, and it's about, I think, appreciating. By the way, it's getting cold. Like, we're in the middle of a dusty, blustery storm, and I cannot wait to get back to the town hall to drop off my stuff to dry. I would like to know how many hours it takes for this stuff to dry. How many days? Because I feel like it takes a couple of days, so we can just like fast forward and sleep a little bit until. Oh, hello. That was in game, not out of game. Gotta go this way. We just got to get there. Oh, it's getting very cold. We're gonna be a little chilly, I think, by the time we get there, which is gonna be awkward. But I hope we can get there. Rissa says, I've been to Ireland twice and did not have the chance to explore. Would love to get back there again one day. Absolutely. Howie Roll says, that is 9% of Irish Americans. Then you will meet the 10% who are well-researched. Often they are first generation. Yeah. It might also have to be like the location you live in, right? Hawkeye says, a trip to Ireland's my bucket list, especially the Galway Mayo region where my family's heritage is from. Oh, that's cool. Rissa says, Asteroid is real. I know, but I feel like standing around is not going to be the best way to go. I think we just have to push. We're not, like, we're kind of close. If we can just get to that town hall, we'll just heat up when we get in there. And so that's my goal. My goal is to see if we can just, like, power through to get back to the town hall. And if we can just make it there, we'll make it anywhere. We'll come through New York, New York. 5 days. 5 days. Thank you, Donald. Donald. Donald? Donald. Donald, how do you pronounce your name? Donald, how do you pronounce your name? Look, we've got enough meat that I think we can make it through these 5 days. And then we can make our pants. The worst thing for me is the American who says, I'm Irish. My mother's uncle's wife's dog was Irish. Well, you know, I'm going to say something about that. It's actually tricky. That's a tricky thing. Because there are different ways of thinking about this, right? Rissa was like, I was in Cork and Shannon would love to see more of the country. Howie Roll says, for example, the fact Hawkeye knows 2 counties where their family has hails means they make the 10%. So what's interesting about this is that the Irish government says if you can prove your grandparents were Irish, we'll give you Irish citizenship. So you can know nothing about Ireland. If you're an American, you can know nothing about Ireland. As long as your grandparents are Irish, you get Irish citizenship. So that in Italy did the same thing. And so that reinforces a couple of ideas about Irishness in American minds. And also a lot of European countries, their idea of citizenship is based on blood rather than birth. So, like, all those people who were of German descent but lived in Russia for, like, the last 150 years, and actually, like, they'd been in the Russian area long before there ever was a Germany. Like, there just wasn't a Germany at all. But they all got to move, right, to Germany and become German citizens. Because a lot of European countries sort of operate on kind of like a notion of blood, which is not exactly how the United States operates, actually. So it's a little bit weird when people start adopting that particular model. But I think it has to do with anxiety, or it has to do with a lot of things, actually. There's like a lot of complicated relationships to the ways in which the people who tend to identify this way, right? More Irish than the Irish, or more Italian than the Italian, et cetera, are almost all white ethnics who were not originally white when they came to the United States. They were not viewed as white and not treated as white. And for whom their identity as American is a little bit complicated because of the ways in which the American cultural power structure is Anglo-Saxon, and for a long time excluded them. So, you know, it's a little complicated. There's like complicated history there that has to do with like complexity of race and power and culture. So it's tricky. Ice Bunny says, my friend's son-in-law is from Turkey, and he also shook me how yesterday the Turkish community in Denmark showed me, but he explained that they left in the 70s and did not experience the changes in the motherland, and that must have happened to the Irish in the US too. Oh, absolutely. I mean, when you leave in the 1860s, you do not experience those things, but you could research. Like, if I'm going to say this, if you feel like you're that Irish, maybe you could, like, look into it. You know what I mean? And maybe, but the problem is, it's not about actual Ireland. It's about mythological Ireland, right? It's about mythology, mythological identities. It's not about the realities of the situation. It's like Donald. Oh, thank you, without the D. Thank you, Donald. Thank you. Krellin says, guess I need to stop calling myself Irish at all, since I'm pretty sure both of my family have been American for more than 3 generations. Well, it's tricky, though, because it's part of how Americans work through the complexities of identity. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's a very complicated thing. It's a very complicated thing that I just don't think is really all that easy, because of the ways in which, because we are a settler colonialist country that has very complicated relationships to race and ethnicity and power. So it's really tricky. Like, it's really complicated. It's just not an easy one. That's what I would say. That's what I would say. Howie Roll says, nice. I assume by Bunratty Castle, as that has no rooms. Maybe Dromoland Castle, which is a castle and a hotel. Oh, nice. Rissa says, my mom's sister who passed away earlier this year was the one interested in genealogy. She was always chasing rumor of a link to Ireland, but I don't know if she ever found one. She did trace back to the revolution and several tribal connections. The exact tribes escape me at the moment. And also, here's the thing. If you can identify as Irish, if you can identify as white ethnic, then you can say that you had nothing to do with racism, which also is not true at all. But, like, it's a way to sort of make yourself not complicit in certain ways with American power structures. But also, the Irish were not the top of the American power structure for quite some time, and it's still a little complicated. It's it's a wow. I cannot see anything, by the way. It's very complicated, right? And I also think, yeah, it is really difficult, especially when it comes to creating American folk culture, because there is some kind of weird. There's some weirdnesses that happened. Actually, there's a lot of really weirdnesses that happened there. Bunratty Castle. I explored the castle with colleagues. Well, very jet lagged. Now I'm just gonna be American from now on. I can trace ancestry to someone that signed the Declaration. So now I'm the arbiter who gets. Ooh, okay. So Krellin, if you're the arbiter who gets to be American, that is going to be kind of fun because I feel like you're going to cause some people to be very irritated, and I'm going to laugh. I'm just going to note it. That's all. Howie Roll says, not meaning to crap anything. You can still count, mate. It's more the issues like story time. I had an American Irish lady give me a lecture for saying paddy wagon. Ah, yeah. Trying to convince me, an Irishman, that had just said it, that it was offensive to my people. Yeah, and you're like, excuse me? Yeah. My verdict, anyone who lives in America can be an American. Anyone who wishes to be an American can be an American. I'm with it. The more Irish than the Irish, sanctimonious attitude. Yeah, but also there's like look, the IRA's number one source of funding in the 70s and 80s was from the United States, was from Irish Americans in the U.S. And one of my exes, her mother, is an American, right? Scottish American, is a member of an organization that's like a Scottish heritage group or whatever, and they advocate for the return of the Scottish monarchy, and they would like Scotland to return to being an absolute monarchy, and they invite the pretender to the Scottish throne over for tea. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like well, it's a thing. It's a thing that I have some questions about. Do you know what I mean? Like, I was like, ooh, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, ooh. But also, it sometimes happens where this happens a lot actually with certain types of folks who have an investment in country A not ever changing because they want country A to be their mythological past. So I've known Irish Americans who get really upset that in Ireland they'll go on and on about how terrible it is that in Ireland the people there are not like keeping up the old ways. They're not like only playing Irish folk music from the 17th century or whatever it is. You know what I mean? Like, they're just very upset with the fact that Ireland is that people in Ireland like rock and roll. Because they think it's like the worst thing in the world that the Irish people like rock and roll when they should, be listening to, you know what I'm saying. All of that kind of business, and it's right, like they think it's like the destruction of all Irish culture that Irish people like use synthesizers or play electric guitars when they should only be playing like traditional Irish instruments because that's like the culture. And I was like, you don't even live in Ireland though. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Oh, yeah. That's a good one.
and I'm gonna note that you are listening to rock and roll, so you are importing a standard of purity that you yourself do not uphold, and that standard of purity is about your desire for a mythology that has nothing to do with actual people from Ireland. It's all about your anxieties around cultural politics, right? Like it's just a lot of anxiety, and there are reasons why these things happen. These things happen because whiteness is not an actual identity. It's a made up identity that was created to do political work, but it's not. It's an artificial identity, right? Many of these things are still artificial identities, but it's a particularly new artificial identity, and it can be very uncomfortable to have to sort of be confronted with an identity that is on purpose. Like whiteness as an identity was created to be rootless and generic, so that you could unite a number of different people against other people, right? Like I mean that was like the point of it. Um, but it is awkward, and it doesn't necessarily feel good, right? When your identity is one that is a constructed identity that's not actually based in well, the mythology it's based in, you can't pretend are not based in other things, right? So that's, I think, one of the, ooh, hello, oops, one of the reasons why a lot of people would prefer um, to just, that's why a lot of Americans would prefer to identify as something else American, right? Rather than uh, just white, or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So and this is not their fault, right? It's the fault of the construction of whiteness as an identity then imposed on people, right? It's like an imposition of something that is a unifying concept, but also an oppressive one that also causes people to have to lose specific histories, and that
God,
can
he's
be,
getting too heavy to
oops,
carry.
and that is not, doesn't feel good. Do you know what I mean? Like that's not a thing that doesn't feel good. Let's see. Let's pass our time there. Take that and then cook. I'm going to see what you're saying in chat, by the way, because I'm sure all the things you're saying are really good, but I just have to make sure that I don't burn all this venison so that I actually have food to eat. Yes, but I'm sure that what you're all saying is like basically white people got really screwed over in certain ways with the sort of invention of whiteness as a concept. Like it's not great. You know what I mean? It's not particularly awesome. Um, that construction. It's certainly not awesome for non-white people, but it's also not awesome for white people. It's about Anglo Saxons convincing people who are not Anglo Saxons to give up their entire culture in exchange for white privilege, but then sometimes they don't even get white privilege. So it can be. Oh, oh, hey, add fuel. Uh, there we go. I'm out of fuel, everyone. I just want you to know it. Uh, but I have it. And then, by the way, I'm going to read what you all have said once I get this thing going, and so then I can see what's happening. Uh, and oh, why did my stove go out? Oh, come on. I just want to point out that that was very frustrating because I feel like I had put extra fuel in there, and so then not having my, I just feel like that was unfair. I'm just gonna note it. Okay, while we're here, I am going to just try to go and get the sleep going on, and then I can see what y'all said in chat. There we go. Okay, okay, okay. Hello, hello, chat. What did you say? What'd you say? Are we awake? Okay, pick that up. I'm going to just eat some more stuff and then drink more water. Oh, I think I probably at some point I should probably go out to get more food, but you know, we can do that in a second. All right. And I need to see what people are saying here. Okay. Oop, oop, wait. There we go. Okay. Okay, okay, okay. Here we are. I have a list of people who should be expelled, Carlin. I submitted for your review at some point. Howie Roll says it's still the top source of funding. Ooh, I didn't know that. Still. Donald says, my father's side of the family immigrated from County Leitrim in the 1860s. I would not try to claim to be more Irish than Irish. That's just silly. But people do. Those people need to play D&D. I don't know, Russ. I feel like de-Americanizing our jerkwads would lead to try to pretend America didn't have a sort of past. That is fair. I think that's good. Hawkeye says, all my interest in Irish culture, traditional music, etc., is more of an interest in history and folklore, yeah, rather than emulating a culture. I never grew up around. Emulating a culture, never grew up around, yeah. I knew we were a bunch of Irish synth, but we never celebrated per se. Maybe they could say American but get exiled. Howie Roll says, I wouldn't mind, but trad music is going strong and stepping into the wage. But see, what's really interesting is that trad music is often also changing, right? Like because here's the thing. If you listen to a traditional Irish band today in Ireland, it's not going to sound the way it sounded 200 years ago. I mean, like a lot of trad Irish bands have banjos in them, and banjos are not from Ireland. You know what I mean? Like the point is that Irish music, traditional Irish music, whatever that means, right, is a living and growing tradition, right? People in Ireland, they're doing their stuff. They discover that they see the banjo. They think that's cool. They incorporate the banjo. They incorporate different things and elements, right, into the music. And it changes and grows as the culture changes and grows, which is just what happens when you're in a living culture. But people who have an investment in your place being some kind of historical past then get mad when you change things because they want it to be fixed, and that's kind of messed up. Howie Roll says, I love sharing that stuff. Half my streams is talking Irish history. Nice! And telling local folklore and legends because people love that. The same way I would ask a Norwegian about their tales of trolls. Absolutely. That's awesome. I wish, or I could go on to be exiled if it means having a bunch of idiots such to my rights. Kron says, speaking of the artificialness of whiteness, that is part of why I've been trying to advise Irish more, not because I'm not white. I don't share what's other white people, but we're not at a place where it's okay for me to just be human. Yeah, I totally get that. And I think that in that way of thinking about Irish American, I think it's actually really kind of interesting. European American is an interesting term that people rarely use, and I wonder why, right? Like, that would be interesting. Like, what would happen if people would identify as European American in larger numbers? That would be interesting to me. I don't know what that would do, but I would be interested. It's funny how few Americans claim English heritage, is how I roll, because they don't have to, right? That because the English basically have historically had the power in this country, and in many ways still do. People of English descent, right? So they don't have to do that. They just get to be American. Yeah. On the other hand, I don't actually share a lot of traits with Irish or even Irish American people. Yeah. Hawkeye says, I pretty much trained myself to be colorblind. I ignore skin tone, etc., and treat everyone the same. I've worked with just about every race and culture and combo as a clinical pharmacist. We're all people, period. The thing about ignoring skin tone is that's no good, because skin tone, somebody said, race isn't real, but racism is. And if you cannot see skin tone, then you cannot say that somebody might need your help, right? Because they're being treated poorly, or that they're being treated differentially. Like if you can't see race, then you can't see racism, and then you can't fight racism, right? Just if you're like, oh, I don't see there's no difference between men and women. I don't see any difference between them at all. But then if you say that and you sort of behave that way, then you cannot see when people are treating someone differently because they're a woman or whatever the case may be, right? So I think it's important to acknowledge, like, because also we're not like we live in the world, we can see things, and it's okay to acknowledge that we see them. The thing is just to not internalize the weird whackness. Do you know what I mean? That like says that some people are better or different. That's I think the difference. Um, yeah. Um, Ressa says I'm at least half Croatian Hungarian. Oh, interesting. Mom said it's pretty all mixed up. Carlin says, I don't know. My famous Irish side was wealthy sleeping with immigrants. You might not like Charles Carroll of Carrollton much. Whew. Mm. Uh, I feel like the game put the stove out there on purpose. Maybe. Oh, I've got to get back to that. Hawkeye says, one of the most traditional groups of the Achievements had a banjo. Huh? Yeah. And Rissa says, I was raised on Sesame Street, so I'll accept any skin fur shade, but I know colorblind as a term gets heat for being insensitive to the fact that, unfortunately, skin color matters in reality more than it should. Yeah. Yeah. Howie Roll says, going to try and help you out here with Donal. Don is an is a Don as in donation, don, and L as in elephant. Donell. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Uh, Donnell. Not Donald, but Donnell. Thank you. Howie Roll says, mate with an Irish name like Owen. With Owen, you get used to explaining the sound in English. My lady friend also has an odd name, so we have practice. Oh, what's your friend's name? Is it Siobhan? What is it? What is it? Uh, that is it. Now make it sound like once. Siobhan or Owen? Which one? Oh, or Donnell. Which one? Which one is one? Which one is one syllable? I need to know. I need to know. Okay, we're in the dark. Also, we don't have enough water, but I feel like that's okay. Uh, we're carrying quite a bit, but we just gotta wait a couple days, and then we can do this. We can do the do. Uh, like Ian. Uh, hey, what's this over here, by the way? Cured rabbit pelts. Nice. Let's just take all these rabbit pelts, because who does not want that? I want lots of rabbit pelts. Hey, while we're here, waiting, I think what we should do is just, check our clothing and see... Ooh. Yeah. Okay, we have to repair this rabbit skin hat, everyone, and I didn't realize that. Luckily, we have materials to do that. But also it's still dark out, so we're gonna just wait for like 5 hours because we've got to. We're gonna basically we're hanging out here, you and I, just hanging out like friends, so that we can pass the time eating food, repairing stuff, getting ready for our life until everything is good. This is gonna be our life. This is us. Also, we're gonna have to sort of set up that stove to get the rest of the water, but I think I think we'll be fine. All right, so let me get these gloves and find out what people are saying. I have a rabbit hat to fetch. Brage is the name, which is rare for even Irish people to say. Donal is closer to one. Donal, 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 Donal. I'm gonna try to swallow that E a little bit to see if that works out. Oh, Brige as in siege. Ah, it's own. I've trained before. Own. How would you say? Oh, it's a good one. Uh, I was yeah. I want to guess. Oh, oh. I love that we're guessing. By the way, the what? Now you make the Betty's freeze. Nah. Brige and Donal. Heisbunk. You know what? You don't need it. All right. Let's see if there's anything else I need to do a quick. I'm not gonna. Oh yeah. I'm not gonna repair those pants because I feel like we're gonna get better pants, and we're gonna repair our rabbit hat. Although I don't think we have all the tools we need. I think we need to get some gut. And look, what I'm trying to tell you is I kind of feel like we're in the best position we've ever been in before, but also it means I get to just hang out with you all. And wait, those are four. Oh, we've got gut drying, so I think we'll be fine. We will be fine. We'll be fine. It'll be okay. Hello. Actions. Repair. Nice. Nice. I'm into it. I'm into it. We are. Look, I actually think we're in a. I'm kind of excited about where we are right now uh, because I think we just have to wait out a couple of days, and I think we have enough food for it, and then we can make these really awesome pants, which I assume are going to be way better than the pants we currently have. So, yes. Uh, but it also means I get to just kind of read chat and see what you all are talking about. Hawkeye says, maybe I should say that better. It's I don't let racial preconceptions, yes, that others try to promote affect. Yes, yes. And I think that's really, right, that's the ideal, right? That's the ideal that we recognize that, like, it's all pretty arbitrary. Do you know what I mean? Like, race is a pretty arbitrary thing that doesn't have. It's pretty like it's pretty arbitrary, and it doesn't need to mean all of those things. Oh, actually, sorry, I need to pass the time. Let's pass like I don't know, 9 hours. Let's see how that goes. Ashling. Ooh. Oh. Nice. Nice. Don't know. Again, no brick. No brick. We say things fast. Ashling. 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 Huh. You know what? I do appreciate the Irish language pronunciation help. I think it's ooh, thirsty. It's good and it's
Snow if
useful.
hypothermia wouldn't kill me.
So let's just drink a bunch of fluids, re up our fluid intake. Go to bed uh, for we'll just like eat some of this wolf meat. Go to bed till the next day. See how our stuff is going. I'm feeling very I don't know. I just kind of feel like I'm winning at this game. Like I know that sounds weird, but that's my feeling. I just feel like I'm like doing so well that I get to kind of just hang out for 3 days, eating all this meat that I have, and not being killed by wolves. It just feels quality. However, I'm gonna have to sort of load up the fire and get more water sometime soon. But you know, you know. Um, ooh, hello. Where are we at, my friends? Okay, let me pick it up. Check it out, how it's good over here. 22:31. Yeah, we've got a couple more. Got a little bit more time we've got to sit through. But I think it's actually. I'm feeling pretty good. We need more water. And I think to do that, we actually need. Do we need more wood? I think we might be out of wood, everybody. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go out into the world while we're here and just gather some wood. Right? Just gather some wood, feel like a very productive person, and then actually just use this as an excuse to go and chat with you some more. That's all. Um, it's a very common name here. I think it means dream. Oh. Oh. Aisling is also a genre of Irish language poems, often written about a dream, like Start, where Ireland is personified as a woman. Oh, that's very interesting. Ooh. I was reading about Irish bards and how the written tradition of Irish bardicry was deliberately destroyed, and so that entire tradition of of history and style and storytelling has basically been lost, and the only things you have left are like the oral tradition version of that, which that sucks. You know what I mean?
Looks like I survived another night.
That's no bueno. That's like that really
I'm
sucks.
not gonna be able to carry this load for much longer.
Oh, don't worry about it. We're gonna just get some more wood and come back. Let's see. It does feel we've shown this chapter who's boss. Sure, we're a little bit chilly, but we're gonna go get some wood, make some more water, and I feel like everything's gonna be aces. We're not even having to go particularly far. And look, I'm really excited about making these leather pants. Woo. Hey, a storm just showed up while we were out. That's okay. That's okay.
This pack is getting too heavy to carry.
It is all right. We will just make it back, hang out where it's warm, not worry about our murder friend, and, we'll be golden. Oh, hey! Hey! Yes, it is. I know. That's why I gotta go back inside. Rissa, will we make Owen a regular, if you please? That would be... Oh, you did. Nice. Excellent. You were already on it. You were just, like, already there. Here we go. Let's see. Oh. Ooh. Nightbutt. Nightbutt is terrible. And we're gonna go. We're gonna eat some food. I think it won't take us that much longer before we can get these hides cured, and then I should probably have basically like what we need. Make the pants. And I assume we're not gonna run out of food before then. I mean, like, I hope not. I suspect not. Okay, let's do it. Let's go and make a fire. Yeah. Yeah. You know what? I feel like we're probably actually pretty good. Let's do it. Also, I think, Rissa, I know how to start a fire with a torch now. When you said that if you start a fire with a torch, the fire lasts longer, I think I know how to do that. So, I'm just going to note it. I'm just going to note it. And let's add fuel to this fire, put in some cedar. And we've got some water boiling. We'll just make more water so that we have... Because we actually, it turns out you go through a lot of water, you know? That's what I'm saying. Okay, folks. Oh, you need to sleep. That makes sense. And I honor that.
Barely walk with this much gear.
I want to let you know that I feel like your sleeping is going to be something that will never be forgotten. And it will be sung about in the songs, as well it should be. And I just wanted you to know that we believe in your sleeping. I don't really believe in my sleeping though, but oh hey, that stove is gonna. Ooh. I'm gonna add just one more bit of fuel because we are gonna. There we go. Yes. Look, sometimes I can be a little bit ridiculous, you know what I mean? And, well, fine. We'll just finish that later. Thank you. Almost have my maps printed out for Gen Con. Oh, interesting. Interesting. I am not going to Gen Con this year. I am still not completely convinced that yeah, I'm not going. I'm gonna wait. I'm hoping I can go next year. I also feel like I'm gonna actually just lose my ticket. 'Cause, you know, like they would let you roll over your ticket. 'Cause I bought the ticket and then you couldn't go because of COVID and all that business. and they were letting you roll that ticket over for a while. I think they're not going to let you roll your tickets over anymore. So I think I'm just going to lose that ticket. But I don't feel great about the rise of COVID cases, basically, right? I mean, this semester, I was teaching a big lecture course and a small seminar, and every every single person in my seminar got COVID over the course of the semester. Every single student in that seminar did, and a very large percentage of my students in the big lecture course got it. And this is on a campus where everybody has to be vaccinated, where you get testing 3 times a week. So it's not like we don't have, uh, like like there's not protocol in place, and that if you got COVID, they sent you to quarantine. We have this, like, they call them pods, where you would go and sleep in these special sort of like special portables, like portable housing, so that you'd be isolated, so you would not give other people COVID. But like, there's a lot of COVID, and oh hey, ooh, uh, interesting.
I'm not going to be able to carry this load for much longer.
Oh, don't worry, you won't be having the load for much longer, because we're going to be eating it and drinking it, and then you won't have it anymore. It'll be fine. Uh, I wouldn't worry about it so much. But uh, stopping COVID is about ventilation and masking, damn it, not vaccination. Yeah. You gotta start getting ready to go board gaming. Okay, 30-minute warning, thank you. It's a coronavirus like the flu. Vaccination was never going to be the answer. It will help, right? It makes you less likely to die, but it is not immunity. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just not immunity. It makes it less likely you'll get it, and ooh, hey, look at that, 50%. Yeah, it makes it less likely you'll get it, which is good, and if you do get it, it makes it less severe, which is also good, but it's not a cure, right? It's not a immunity. It's not immunity, and we have to know that. And my students were running around partying without masks on in basement frat houses, and then they all got COVID. Surprise, surprise. There should be no surprise there. Of course that was going to happen, and they were not being particularly responsible, is what I would say about that. Yeah. Yeah. I don't think we actually have any Aurora activities right now. We actually just, like, all that we have to do right now is actually just leave. We have to sort of get out of Pleasant Valley, because that's like we're done. But I don't want to waste this the gear that we have collected, and I also, to make Krellin not mad at me, I do also want to not I want to not be super over encumbered when we leave. So I'm trying to be responsible, and try to be responsible, and not take everything with us. That is my goal. Probably should not have waited, done 12, but I think it's fine. Meat in the belly and not in the bag. Yeah. Right. So this is what I'm just saying. I just feel like it'll be. I feel like we're doing a good thing, and we just have to do, like, what? We only have a couple more days, right? Right. Oh, we're probably gonna be very thirsty when we get out of this 12-hour break, so that'll be a little bit awkward. Yeah. Oh, Aurora's back. Interesting. Interesting. Uh. Okay, there we go.
Nate.
Here we go. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We. Oh, hey. We are out of water. That's okay. That's okay. We're gonna start a fire. which will take up some space. It'll be fine. We'll get more stuff in, and we'll be able to make it through. Um, my favorite recent COVID thing on Twitter was a headline: "What's the secret to people
Come
that
on.
haven't gotten COVID yet?"
Come
And the response was, "We don't go out places." Yeah. Also, I
on.
still am
That's
masked
a good one.
everywhere I go. I still stay masked. I don't not mask up. Like I just for the record, right? Like melt snow, boil water. Okay. Uh, yeah. I wonder what's going on with myself at this moment. Take it. Um, yeah. So just for the record, like I am still doing. Like I'm still masking. Like I still mask outdoors. I mask all the time because you know we're not. It's not over, and I would like us to be in a situation where people don't, especially people who are immune compromised, don't get sick. So, yeah, it's just a little frustrating because I've got friends who are immunocompromised and they don't get to just go out because they want to now. Do you know what I mean? Like they are not in a position where they just get to do that, and one of the reasons why they're not in the position where they get to do that is because none of us are doing it. And it would be really nice if we were maybe a little bit more thoughtful about their safety too. Like we're not just the only ones in that's all. I just think about people I know who are immunocompromised, and I care about them. So I want them to be okay. Is what that is. Um, also still masking everywhere, which I totally do. Um, like I'm going to play Pathfinder. Oh, comment about that this weekend with one of the only people I've socialized with the whole time, and I'm going to be masked pretty much all day. Yeah, right. Why wouldn't you? Also, the stove has got 1 minute. You know what? I actually don't need to put that in there. We can just we can leave that for the moment, and we're gonna just take a little bit of a sleep. This is our way of like passing the time so we can get what we need done. Boom. I mess anytime I'm out in public. Yep. Because it's not foolproof and because we're not done, regardless of how much people want that to be the case. Yes. Oh, Donald. Hey, DSB. DSB. I'm so glad you're here. I was just gonna say something that involved you to Krellin, but now you can say it as well, but you don't know what I'm talking about, so you're like, what am I supposed to say? So I'm gonna tell you what you said to me that I don't think I got to respond to because I just don't think I was able to at that moment, but I thought at least at this moment it could be brought up. Uh, DSB said to me, hey, Valtiel, DSB said to me that she was sad that they have canceled the Pathfinder card game. And I didn't even know that they canceled the Pathfinder card game because I had not heard that news. And that makes me sad because it was a very good, like, that's a good quality game. And so I just wanted to know, I wanted to elicit your thoughts, is what I wanted. That's what I wanted. Hi, Curl. I'm saying the things Tripper is saying. Yes. Rissa says, and also now there's news about monkeypox. Oh? Where healthcare professionals are saying they'd rather just leave the profession because it's got a 10% mortality and people aren't even taking precautions. Oh my gosh. I had not heard about monkeypox. I don't know about this, and that seems distressing. Also, we drink a lot of water. It's a thing I should just share with you. Um, I don't know, we should be like, let's be cooler, folks. Let's be more chill about this. Yeah. So, if for those of you who have never played the Pathfinder Adventure card game, it is really cool. It is a very cool card game. I am a big fan of it. It. Uh, let's pass like maybe 7 hours. Um, oh no, Trooper. I think the U.S. case I heard was in mass. Oh really? where does it come from? Like, where does it come from? Where does it go? Where does it come from? Monkeypox Joe? Like, these are questions I have. Oh, okay. Hold on. Oh, and it's in the Massachusetts. Oh, okay. Well, that's distressing. I'm gonna go add this to my tabs right now. Yeah, you told me they canceled it, right? And I was like, what? You told me that, and I was like, don't, what? I had not heard that, and this doesn't make me happy. It was dead basically since the renewed core set. Ah, but it was officially announced a while ago. Also, there's a spiritual successor to it called Apocrypha, but the same designer, and I definitely want to play it. Um, so I think I played Apocrypha at Gen Con a couple years ago, and I didn't think I liked it as much as Pathfinder. I think I think I liked Pathfinder better than Apocrypha, but I only got to play it at Gen Con, and you know how that's not always the most representative um, experience, right, of a game. Like you demo it, but you don't necessarily get to know it really well. Um, my my experiencing it at Gen Con was like okay, but it wasn't like this is so great, and it will certainly 100% overtake Pathfinder. But I mean, on the other hand, if it's the only thing you got, then it is also the only thing you got. So those are my thoughts about that. Let's see. The Apocrypha box looks neat. Sometimes Mike Slinker's design makes me want to punch Mike Slinker, but the core of Pathfinder Adventure card you might like. Yeah, what else did he do, by the way? Like the phrase, that cannot be reduced, it just makes me rage. There's absolutely no need for that phrase in the game. Mm-hmm. By the way, it's the daytime. Maybe we are at a space where we might be ready with our stuff. I feel like we might need one more. Oh, we're so close. Look at this. We are so close. We are so close, everybody. I feel like we probably just need to wait a little while longer, and uh, we might be good. We might be able to like do this, y'all. I want to play cards for like 5 hours. 5 hours. Let's see what happens. That might be enough. Also, I watched a review of Pathfinder adventure card game that was basically the only good thing about this game is the insert, and I was like, I can't listen to anything this person says about the board games if they think that Pathfinder insert was good. No, if I remember correctly, it was bad. Like that was, I think, the official and scientifically proven true thing. That was a bad insert. Like that was not a good insert. That was ooh, it is. The wind is blowing out there, everybody. It's a mm, 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 mm. Y'all, can you believe how great this is right now for our lives? I don't. I can't believe it. You like the insert? I found that just didn't hold everything. I got like a third party insert that worked just a little bit better than that one. So that was my joy about that. By the way, where are we at? Hey, look, everybody. Look at what we got. Look what we got. I'm going to just note that we got it. That's all. I find that it didn't hold all the cards. Like once you got all the inserts, like when you got all the adventure paths to go with that one particular box, it wouldn't hold them all. And so I found it to be not particularly hopeful that way. So also we don't have enough water. So I think what I want to do is sleep till morning. Or not like full morning, but like sleep as much as we can. And then make some water. And then go out to, go out to the barn, make the pants. And then we can leave. We'll come back here, pick up whatever figure out what we're going to pick up, and then we'll leave and we'll go to the next chapter. And I kind of feel like that's going to be...
Man,
Oh, I have...
is getting kind of heavy.
Oh, I have no tinder? Ooh. Okay. Okay, okay. Let's make some tinder, shall we? I feel like we can do that. Yeah. But I don't play with the character decks. Ah, yeah, no, we did. We played the character decks, and that just made it really difficult. Yeah. That's what it was. That is what it was. Absolutely. And it definitely doesn't work with the character decks, but even with just the B and C decks, it's not ideal. You'll start moving basic cards when you get to deck 3. Yes, but they have to go somewhere. They have to stay in the insert somewhere. So that became kind of like frustrating. But, oh, there are people here who do not know the adventure, the Pathfinder adventure card game. They do not know it, and it is amazing. It is brilliant. Ooh. It is smart. I wonder what happened there. It's interesting. It has like it's such a good design. So in the game, okay. Point. It's a good point. I'm gonna just make more. We're gonna make as much water as we can.
Name game.
The name game. Come on, everybody. I said, now let's play a game. I bet you I can make a rhyme out of anybody's name. The first letter of the name, I treat it like it wasn't there. And then a B or an F, on M will appear. And then I say bo at a B, then I say the name, then banana, fanner, and foe. Then I say the name again with an F very plain. Then a fee, fi, and a mo. Then I say the name again with an M this time, and there isn't any name that I can't rhyme. Faultiel, Faultiel, banana, fanner, for Faultiel, fee, fi, mo, Maltiel. Faultiel, the name game. Thank you for that resub, Faultiel. Also, I just realized there's something I do not have visible, and I was like, what? So I was like, oh no. Let me take this, and then take this. So I
any of this gear.
yeah. I really want to share with people. Ooh, hold on. Add fuel. One more of these. It's gonna make us run out of time, but I want to explain how the system works because it's super cool.
I'm not sure I can carry much more.
What I'm gonna do is put more where. Okay. Weird. Okay, so. Okay, sounds great. Here's my thoughts, y'all. I have thoughts about what we're going to do right now because, we are going to, end sometimes when we have all the things that we need. So my thought is I'm going to put a bunch of stuff in that thing, that place, the cupboard. Take the things we need to make the pants. Go out, get the pants, maybe get some clothes while we're there. We have a lot of water, but we actually are not particularly heavily encumbered. That's interesting. So we're going to keep as much as we dare. And then we're going to head out. So like all that we're going to keep, but I think we can probably, I'm going to ditch a bunch of things from our general gear because I think, I don't think I'm going to need this jerry can. I don't think I'll need the cooking pot because I'm not planning on staying out for a really long time. I don't plan on killing any rabbits. If I need food, I'll go fishing. I'll keep the flares because we might need them. I'll keep this for more water if I need it. That for cleaning. That's my sewing kit. I'm going to need more of those. So let's then... Right, so I'm going to need... I don't have any cloth. Oh, wait, yeah. We're going to just, like, take 3 cloth, 7 cloth. We're going to take... I don't think we need the cured leather, but we need the deer hide and the cured gut. And I don't think we need the rabbit pelts at the moment. But I did want another sewing kit. I did want to talk about the... I wanted to talk about the... there we go. And look, we are... basically... yeah, we have what we need for deerskin pants, which I think should be better than what we have. We have mucklucks, which I think are really, really good. So I think we've got what we need. We've got what we need. I think we can do this, and we can leave before the game, before we end the game tonight. That's what I think. We found that we were adding cards faster than removing them. It wasn't non-functional. It did not work for us, yeah. Also, the villain henchman slots were too small, especially in something like Wrath of the Righteous. Yeah. Oh, that's fixed by the fact that the design ethos says it will never need deck 2 villains. Look at just whatever you've done with deck 2, so you can show those back. Oh. Only deck 1 ever gets reused. Oh. Oh, that's... Oh, I didn't know that. That's very interesting. That is not information that they gave us. So there's going to be a workbench here in this Pleasant Valley, in a Pleasant Valley barn. So we're going to head that way. And that's what we're doing. If we can see some... We probably need, long-term, maybe a little bit more fuel for fire. But I think other than that, we are probably pretty good. We can just, like, head out there, get our stuff, come back. Be awesome. I don't think that was true in Wrath, but I was... Yeah. Okay, 10 minutes. I got it. Yes, absolutely. Hello, Lightning Invoker. How are you? Lightning Invoker, guess what I'm doing right after I get off the stream? I'm going to go and post the last episode of Kolos. I've got to go and make a title card for it, but I'm posting it right after I get off stream. Just... The VOD is already uploaded. It took a little bit of while. It took a little moment to do that, but it is uploaded. I just need to make a title card and put in the description, and then I can make it go live, and then you will have it, and then it will be awesome, and you will perhaps be interested. It happened. Let me chop this up.
I made it through another night.
There we go. Okay. What else did I want to tell you? Be long and be good. It's a little bit less than 6.5 when you take out the intermission. So it's like 6 1/4. Something like that, you know, just like a, you know, he will not, no, it'll take me almost no time to upload it. So the first thing I'll do is just like upload it. I just have to make one title card that will not take very long to do, upload it, and then I just do my grading, because I do not want to be up until 6 in the morning today, finishing grading, and I am committed that will not be the case. So it'll be good. You know, look, it will take me no time at all, I swear. Also, there's a wolf over there that we're going to sort of ignore. I swear, no time at all. I swear. Also, is that wolf going to try and attack me? Because I would not like that. I would not think that's cool. Just for the record. Okay, so, oh, good night, Rissa. Have a good night. So for those of you who've never played the Pathfinder Adventure card game, which I recommend, it has this really ingenious sort of system where each player has a deck of cards. And the deck of cards are like, they're a combination of, well, first you make a character, like you pick a person. right? And then you make a deck of cards, and the deck of cards will have like armor and weapons and potions and if you're a spellcaster, spells, right? Things like that. Cool things like that. That's what it will have in it. And I think your starting deck is either 10 or 12. 12? 12? 12? Somebody knows. 10 or 12. And what's interesting is that what cards in your deck basically sort of kind of depend on your class a little bit. Like if you're a fighter, you're probably gonna have a lot more armor and shields and weapons. Starting deck 15, thank you, 15. And what's really interesting is that your deck is also your health. So each class has a starting hand, right? So if you're like a fighter, your starting hand size is probably a 4 because they're very hard to kill. If you're a magic user and you're easier to kill, your starting hand is a 6. And so when you start your turn, you pull up those number of cards. So if you're a fighter, you take 4 cards. So now you only have 11 cards in your deck if you're a fighter, or 9 cards in your deck if you're a magic user. So on your turn, you play cards. They go into your discard pile for the most part, which means you're just 1 card closer to death. And that's awesome. And if you take damage, what happens is you have to discard cards, right? So you have to like if I took 3 damage, I have to discard 3 cards. If I took 10 damage, but I only have 4 cards in my hand, I just discard all 4 and have to redraw 4. If I have 6 cards in my hand, I take 10 damage, I have to discard all 6 and then redraw up to 6, which means now if I'm a magic user, I only have 3 cards left in my deck. And if you ever have to draw a card and you have no cards left in your deck, you die. And so what clerics do is that clerics take cards from your discard pile and then put them back in your deck, right? So it's this kind of cool thing where healing is taking cards, putting them back in your deck so that you are not going to die when you have to draw. And then of course, when you level up, right, you get to basically, you replace the cards in your deck to make them better, or you get new cards so that when you're like a higher level character, you just have more cards in your deck so that you live longer. And it's a really elegant design that is very fun and very cool. And it also is, you will sit in the morning. Oh, no. This, let me tell you, this I can handle. This is a thing that I'm not worried about. It does not take me that long to do. It takes a long time for me to wait for the upload to upload, but since that's already done, it shouldn't take me like 15 minutes. And I'm gonna have to eat again anyway, so I'm not even bothered by it. I think it'll be easy peasy pudding pie. So it's this really neat thing, and also like you can see your deck dwindle, and it is stressful, and it's like a very cool. It's a very cool and elegant mechanic that I have a lot of it's like much respect for that. It's I don't know what car batteries are for, by the way, but it's really good. And I imagine since the game is no longer going to be supported, you might be able to get copies of it relatively cheaply. So, I mean, let's make deerskin pants. This was like our whole mission in life was to make some. I've not finished now, have I? Okay. Oh, all right then. I have to keep crafting. This is going to take a little bit longer than I thought it would, everyone, because we only work in small increments. We need another 11 and a half hours. Oh, hold on now. Let's see what we can do about this. Why don't we eat some food, drink some water, and then see if we can actually get more work done on these pants than it looks like. There's got to be a way to actually spend more time on it. So let's see. Deerskin pants. Let's spend more hours on it. How do we do that? I would like to spend more hours on you, please. Begin crafting. Switch. Here we go. All right, let's spend 5 hours on it. I didn't think it would take us, but oh, okay. We wore out our sewing kit. That's fine. That's fine. Uh, um, there. Let's spend 5 hours on our sewing kit, and we'll just craft as long as we can before the sun goes down. I think we can do this, and I'm kind of excited about having cool pants. Also, it turns out we're gonna have to spend overnight here, so I'm not sad that we uh, spent the extra time, right? So let's we need 4 hours. Well, let's see if we can craft for 4 hours before they will make us stop because it becomes dark. Because they often won't let you. Yep, we cannot craft in the dark. We are almost done, which means we are going to have to sleep until it's daylight, and then finish our pants, and then go home, and then end our game. Right? Like, I feel like this is really good. This is, like, really good. And, yeah, so, yeah, time is up-ish. So let's, I need a light source. Warning. Oh, we'll get there. Skulls and Shackles is $21 on Amazon right now. Oh my gosh. Nice. So right now, in case you want to know, I am going to put out the bed, sleep, and then finish this thing. This has been like our major progress and project, and I feel like if we can finish this project, I'm gonna feel like, you know, like we did a really good job and that we accomplished something important, and then I'm gonna feel like really good. Okay, 9:30. All right, we're gonna just like gotta finish it before anyone can say anything. Just like before they come back. By the way, we're kind of out of food at this point in time, so note that that is going to be a thing. Right? Okay. So, it's dark. We'll have to wait like 2 hours. Just, okay, the sun's coming up. It's going to be light enough. We'll be able to finish these pants. Ooh, it's still kind of dark, right? Oh, 1 more hour. 1 more hour. Look, and then I'm going to go. I just want to finish these pants. There we go. There we go. Okay, look. And finish the pants. You don't know how excited I am for these deerskin pants. Begin crafting. Did we do it right? Right? Okay. We made deerskin pants. By the way, these are 2.5. We're gonna notice, and they weigh 2. Okay, wait. I have no food left, which is awkward. Not the greatest, but I feel like it's okay. We're gonna put on these pants. I am so excited. Okay, before anything happens, we're gonna do this together. We're gonna put on the pants. Before we do that, I just want to repair these and see what that looks like. Right? Okay. So these pants are 2 heat. These are 2 heat. These are +5 wind. These are +2 wind, way better. Yeah, so this is like better on everything except for, oops. better for everything except for running and weight because they're way heavier. They're way heavier though. But I feel like they're probably better, right? 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 Don't you think? I mean, we're gonna just say yes. We're gonna say that these are better. Uh, Trooper, you'd be my first choice to be in my group in a survival situation. I just want you. Thank you. Look, I was in the military one time. I do have like some like the pants are way better, right? I kind of think that our mucklucks are probably actually better than the deerskin boots that I could make. Yeah, I think they're the best pants we can get too, and I think they probably last longer. And so I actually think that we are like I think this is good. I think we're in a our ear wrap doesn't last very long, distressingly, um, but I think we're good. Yeah, I think we're good. So here's my thought. We are currently basically at encumbrance, which is really good. We don't have really food with us. We're out of food, but we have a lot of carrying capacity. My thought is what we do. By the way, I'm going to save right now and then take us to the outer screen. Yes. So here's my thought. My thought is next week we go out to that fishing hut. We catch some fish. We have to come back towards we have to come back to the town hall anyway on our way out of town. So I think we go out to the fishing hut, get a bunch of fish, come back to the town hall, cook up all that fish so we have food, and then decide what we are or are not going to take with us. I think what we don't do is take any of the um, like we'll take hide and cloth and things like that. But if there's anything that's like not cured, we don't take that with us. Um, and we sort of just basically take um uh, we make ourselves slightly encumbered, but not too heavily encumbered. Um, Drop or scrap anything we think we probably don't need, and then we leave Pleasant Valley. That's my thought. That's my thought. Um, and but I'm going. And here's what I'm going to tell you. This week for gaming, you can find me tomorrow at 7 p.m. for Kolos, City of Light and Shadow, on my channel. 7 p.m. Eastern. It'll be good. It's the last group episode with everybody from this crew, and we're going to be dealing with I think the fallout of their of everything that's happened. It's gonna be like a nice like sort of moment, and then we have got two more episodes with this group, two duo episodes. The gents next week, and then the ladies the week after. And then the Saints, like one more episode of Kolos as a surprise. I've spoken to somebody. I have got something lined up for July because we won't have Kolos back until August. I've got something lined up for July, which I think will be very exciting for you. I've got to work on what we've got lined up for June. I've got some stuff on the books, and then Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern, over at Praxagora the Smophoria, I will be playing The Witcher Roads Home. Be on the lookout for some stuff happening in June and some other stuff. So I did see the podcast you posted. Yes, it's in Danish, yes? Yes. I do not speak Danish, though, so that will not be as useful for me. There is a Saturday stream this week because this Saturday, my grading is done tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock in the morning, so this Saturday should be good. I'm going to a concert Saturday night. I'm going to see Garth Brooks outdoors, which I'm very excited about. Some Garth Brooks, but yeah, we've got The Outer Worlds, which I'm really looking forward to. Yes. Okay, so that's it. I'm going. Take care of yourselves. Before we go, I think it's going to be really, really good. Oh, you know what? They got rid of the friends, which is not great. But let's see if we can maybe. Well, I can't tell who my friends are. This is really awful. I don't like this at all. They got rid of friends, and so I don't know who's up for me to raid that are my friends, because I got rid of the friends view. Oh, well, enjoy Pathfinder. You should do that. I wish I could. Yeah, we're not going to stream. That's it. We're not going to raid. I'm going to go and get some food. Post the last episode of Kolos, and then grade, because I've got some grading to do, and I'm gonna get it done. And then I've got one more thing I'm gonna do tonight. But that's it. All right. Have a good evening. Take care of yourselves, and I will catch you all on the flip side. Bye, everybody.